Get off.
Yeah. All right, we about to do this. Shout out everybody in the replay. About to let everybody in. The floodgates are opening. Over 50 people about to jump in here. Let's do this. Yo, what's going on, guys? Thank you for waiting. I'm approving all your note takers. We got like 50 million note takers. I also have a note taker, guys. So if you just want to use my note taker, I'll have the notes. Don't worry. I know some of you guys love having the note takers, which is good. Let me just accept all of these. Welcome back, guys, to the second, it was the third live call, second call with Mark jumping on here today. We got an exciting one because we're going to be diving into how to do some like more of the details on reaching out to these creators. We're going to be getting into the proposal. So, like, what's the actual process? You can call it like a sales process, except it's not, we're not really selling them. It's more so we're vetting them. So I call it like the deal acquisition process more so, but we'll be talking you through at what stage do you send what? When do you get on the call with them? What do you do in that call? Mark's gonna be walking through his whole process on that. And so we're gonna have a fun, exciting call all about that today. But really quick, I want to just pull up our wins channel here because I want to shout some people out. If you guys have been in the channel at all, you've definitely seen that it's very active. I keep like texting Mark every day. I'm like, dude, look, you see this? You see this? People are just on fire, which is so fun to see. And so I just want to shout some people out in case, people in the replay, they didn't see this. Obviously we'll have the replay up forever. But Ryan, I know the deal's not closed on, but shout out you, Ryan, for taking action. Person super qualified. So today's call has been really helpful just with the proposal and sending it to him. So happy to hear that. Muhammad just got some people on his list that he's gonna be reaching out to. So shout out to you, bro, taking action, getting people on the list. I know Ryan was like, no celebrating until the deal's closed, but I like to celebrate even when people are moving and taking action because I mean, we've all been in programs, guys, where there's like only a few people are really taking action, or maybe you were the one who sat on the sidelines. And so I always want to give flowers to the people that are moving, creating momentum because that adds up. That adds up. Huge shout out to Craig for closing a seven-figure company on a publishing deal. I know he was on the Q&A call. You guys can watch that replay. And we talked about potential deal structures and I helped him figure that out. And he came back letting us know that that deal went through. So huge shout out to Craig. Lori sending out outreach already, which is super exciting. And Lori, today's call is going to help you dial that in even more. We got some more. Let me see up here. Ollie was sharing how he is partnering up with someone who has a community of the 1,500 to 1,800 buyers, not just leads. And I know he was saying, Mark, he was like, oh man, like I want to dream, Mark wants us to dream big and get bigger people. But I was telling him like, hey, even like 1,800 paid members is gold. Like those are buyers. Like that's sometimes even better than 10,000 followers who are just, dinking around. So huge shout out to you, man. Love that. Got some more up here. Ian, he went on Facebook. He just or not Facebook, LinkedIn. Shout out LinkedIn, and he already got two DMs from top-notch people who can introduce him to some creators. So I love Ian just getting strategic with that. You guys can definitely use that yourself. Partner with people that can refer people to you. We'll be talking about that. Joe got a huge deal lined up with someone he's saying is be the next Alex Jones, somebody in the survival space, I'm assuming, or that area. I know he's got millions of followers, and so huge shout out to Joe. And there's many more. You guys can just scroll through here and get encouraged. The list goes on, and that's only after one call with Mark. And so after today's call, man, this week, Mark, it's going to be big. I already know like what we're going to talk about today is going to give people even more and really dial in what I'm calling like the deal acquisition process. Because I was saying like we're not actually selling people, like we're coming to them, we're vetting them, like we're an investor. And so that's what I love about this. It removes that pressure. It
Yep.
removes that pressure. So I'm just excited about that. But one more thing too, before I hand it off to Mark and he starts talking, and you guys are gonna, hear Mark on 1.5 speed again. We have opened, we've opened up the members area. So if you guys haven't received an email yet, I made a post saying just submit a ticket and I'll add you to it. But we have the members area uh, all set up so all the replays can be in there. And you can check that out. I'll have all the details, the docs. We'll give you the proposal templates. That will all be there. And so we have the past recordings uploaded. The docs are in there. Today's call will be in there by the end of today. So if you haven't gotten access, feel free to hit me up and I'll get you in there. But Mark, I'm going to pass it off to you and we're going to get
All
into
right.
this.
Thanks, brother. Good to see you guys on here. And again, like Josh was just saying, congrats on those of you who are here live with us. I know not everybody's able to be here live, so you'll catch the recordings. And congrats on those who are already taking action. I know some people on this group are maybe a couple chapters ahead. They're a little bit more advanced. They've already been doing version of this. And so it feels like maybe depending on where you are, maybe you haven't reached out yet or you haven't started yet. That's totally fine. I wasn't even expecting people to start reaching out necessarily until we started covering a little bit more of the program. But for those of you that have already taken action, I love it because again, there's no perfect way to take action. Every time you reach out to somebody, it's going to be received differently. And so even with me, you would think, oh, well, Mark must reach out perfectly. No, because I still get people who I'll reach out to, and it doesn't always go through the way I want to. So remember, there is no perfect way to reach out. It's a numbers game. You're trying to reach out to as many people as possible. You're trying to eventually get a deal. When you do get a deal, it's going to be an opportunity for you to prove that you can make it happen. The client may or may not be the perfect client. Sometimes I work with a celebrity or a thought leader and I think they're great. And then we launch and I find out it's not. Maybe the audience and the organic launch versus affiliates and paid, because we're organic first to their following. Maybe it doesn't do as well. And then I'm like, uh-oh, it didn't do as well. But maybe it crushes on affiliates or paid. So again, don't have any stress built up around the process. It's always an iteration. You're always learning. You're always testing. You're always tweaking. You're always optimizing. Every single outreach, every single deal, every single experience you have here will be unique to you and the unique client partner relationship that you have. So there is no perfection. There's just taking action and learning and testing and tweaking and improving as you go. So with that being said, I'm going to pull up my slides here. Josh, give it so I can share my screen.
Yes,
And
sir.
then I'm going to share the little funnel map on Figma here that Josh mapped out kind of for the visual people. I'm a visual learner myself. And so I'm going to show you guys a little visual of what the outreach process looks like. So can you guys share my screen here? Just give me a thumbs up. Cool. All right.
Yeah, you may just need to zoom in a little bit. I think if you're on desktop too, guys, you can zoom in yourself, but other than that, it looks good.
Okay. Let's see. Where is the zoom? Oh, there it is.
Bottom right. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. So first, we're going to research the creator, and we talked about a variety of different ways to be able to do that. One of the simplest ways is to use the resource that Josh shared in the last training. So you guys can go back and reference that. And it's a phenomenal way for you to leverage this technology to basically research exactly the type of person that you want within the industry, the niche, the following count, the engagement rate, et cetera. So that would be the primary way to do your research. Or you can just do classic guerrilla style, just go on YouTube and start typing in an industry that you're interested in: crypto, finance, moms, non-toxic products, real estate, affiliate marketing, health and wellness, fitness, and you just start searching, and then you'll find creators who come up and you'll rank the videos by most popular, and then you'll find the creator who has a video with hundreds of thousands to millions of views. You'll go to their channel, you'll start doing some just guerrilla style research, looking at their engagement, looking at their videos, looking at their what they put in their description, if they have a lead magnet, if they're selling affiliate products, if they're selling their own products, if they're telling people to opt into an email list to build up their email list. And that's kind of like classic style. So you can just go on and start doing some research on YouTube. And the reason why I'm saying YouTube over TikTok, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and other platforms is simply because I have found better success with people that have large YouTube channels simply because their audience has a greater depth. Just like you guys, after being on here with me for 2 hours, or last week's call was 4 hours, roughly, you're going to have a greater depth of connection with me and Josh, because you're going to be like, holy crap, I just watched hours, 4 hours straight of, helpful content, versus TikTok and LinkedIn and Instagram and Facebook. Those are all like shorter form. So it's harder to build that deep relationship, which is why, some people would say, oh, people love Joe Rogan because he has 3 hour long podcasts. And so if you ever stick around and watch his 3 hour podcast, every single episode, there's a lot of people, millions and millions and millions of people, that have a really deep connection with Joe Rogan because they watched 3 hour long podcasts, versus maybe somebody who has 100 million followers on TikTok, but they only ever stand there and just dance. That person may have 100 million followers, but I doubt that if they were to go up toe to toe with Joe Rogan, who may have 30 million followers versus 100 million, on TikTok, like there's some like girls that have 100 million followers on TikTok for dancing. I guarantee those people could not drive as much sales and revenue as Joe Rogan could. And that's because Joe Rogan has not only an older audience with money, but they watch 3 hours of his content and also a variety of other factors. So point is, researching is a critical first step so that you can make sure that you're going after the right people. And again, you can go after whatever audiences, industries, and niches you want. My favorite are the ones that are statistically known to be profitable. So I like to go after creators that have cult-like followings that are typically in some realm a little controversial in their ways, because if you're just kind of like vanilla, you're not going to have as diehard of a following, and you're not going to have as much of a value-aligned audience, which is what I refer to as like, I'd rather have somebody, here's an example, a harsh example, somebody come out and just straight up say in their content, like either verbally, like I'm a Republican or a Democrat or a conservative. I'd rather they just straight up say it, and all their content tells you that's who they are. So it's a value-based influencer. You follow them based on their values, which values can be controversial if we get into politics or your belief system or whatever, or a kingdom entrepreneur, right? Somebody who believes in God and Jesus. Like, I'd rather somebody just come out and be super transparent with their values, because then you're going to have a deeper, more connected relationship with your audience. And so you can go after whoever you want. I'm just telling you, in my experience, when I go after a high value based influencer or thought leader who comes out boldly, I believe in God, I'm a Republican or Democrat or conservative, I'm a whatever. When they are so transparent with their values, that creates conflict with people who don't align, but it creates depth with the people who do align. And those are the people that are going to be 10 times, 100 times more likely to buy the product based on the value and the relationship with that person. So for me, that's one of the most important factors when I'm doing my research, above engagement rate, above following count, above all of that. It's the value of the person that they're reflecting. So I know their audience is diehard. If they have following, like an extreme example, love him or hate him, is Alex Jones. That's the guy that we had $1 million day organically. We did like 500, 600 grand on the first day, and then like 600 grand the second day, and then $1 million in the third day. All organic, straight to a sales page for a $297 product. And it was just a sales page, like straight to the sales page. There was no sales funnel, follow-up, nothing. And so he has an extremely cult-like following, which is why he has a lot of people who immediately are turned off by him. But the ones that aren't, and there's millions that aren't, they love him. They'll buy anything he has. He literally just has to say, go to this website and buy. And they do, millions and millions of dollars worth. And so that's what I wanted to lean in on the research side, because most people won't talk about that. But in my experience, that's actually one of the most important things I look for. So then the next factor is, are they qualified? And so there's a variety of different ways that you can tell if they're qualified. We just listed some of them: their engagement rate, their following count. Do they already have a lead magnet converting their following into an email list, which is a huge, huge, huge thing. And if they are, by the way, maybe they just suck at it. Maybe they're not doing a good job. Maybe their lead magnet isn't as good. Maybe they haven't split tested it. Maybe they haven't tried any new ones, like a PDF download versus a quiz funnel versus find out your magic power versus download my audio hypnosis versus my motivation Monday versus my 5 non-toxic products, or 3 ways to get your first real estate deal, or the top 20 meme coins I'm betting on for crypto. Like, you get the point, right? Like, are they testing different lead magnets? And you could just follow the person for like a month or 2 and see if they have or not. There's a whole bunch of ways that you can determine if somebody's qualified. If they're not, then you just go on to the next. It's a numbers game. It's all about the frequency of how many people you're reaching out to. Like, if you reach out to 2 or 3 people and you come back to Josh and I and say, hey guys, I haven't got anyone to say yes yet. And I say, how many did you reach out to? And you say 3 people, I'm going to be pissed because I want to hear 30. I want to hear 50. I want to hear 100. We've already got people in the group who've said they've reached out to like 1 person and got a yes. That's not always going to be the case. So just remember, listen to my voice. I want you to hear me in the back of your head. If you only reached out to 3, 5, 10 people and they said no, or you didn't get a response, that's not enough. You need to be reaching out to 30, 50, 100. And by the way, that's per week. That's per week, 30 to 50 to 100 outreaches a week until you get your yes. And once you get your yes, that means that you're now going to go through the next phases. So if they said yes, now you're going to be in contact with this person, because you're going to find out if they're interested, maybe send them a proposal. And if they're not interested, obviously, and they haven't replied to you, what I like to do is give them 48 hours. That's my kind of time frame, because I'll be honest, there's days where I don't check social media for my DMs or even my emails that get buried. And so when I do a follow-up, a lot of the times I'll be super short and brief and just say, hey, Joey, sent you this on Monday. I wanted to bump it up in your inbox. And it's the exact same message from before if I copy and paste it or whatever. So I'll literally just hit him up and be like, David, sent you this 2 days ago. We just wanted to bump it up in your inbox. I don't try to say, because you're busy, because you're this, because I'm not trying to like lower my positioning on the totem pole. I'm just saying, hey, bumping this up in your inbox. That's it. I know you're super busy. No. What do you work at McDonald's? Like, you're not reaching out to this person. Like, trust me, Elon Musk is not going to hit you up and be like, hey, I know you're super busy, Josh. I just wanted to follow up with you and send this to you one last time. No, you literally just say, I'm bumping this in your inbox. Here you go, David. Boss status, confidence status. You guys get that? Like, a lot of your energy is going to be in the follow-up and the way that you reach out. You don't tell people. I'm just pulling up the chat here because I want to see what you guys are saying. So I don't fall too far behind you on the chat. Exactly. Yeah, Ian says, I hope the email finds you well. Yeah, you don't need to say that, right? You want to come off with like, it's okay to be nice. Just try to delineate between being nice and then being maybe low on the level of like the door greeter. Because you know who's super nice? The door greeter. Hey, nice to meet you. Come on in. Can I get your bags for you? And by the way, there's nothing wrong with that, but you're trying to come off like a partner, not a door greeter. And so there's a balance, and it's I hate to say like try to not be as nice, because I don't mean that, and I'm a naturally nice person. So sometimes I'm following up with somebody and I'm like, hey, hope you had a great holiday. Hope the kids are well. And I try to remind myself, if I have a relationship with the person, then I might say those things. But if I don't have a relationship with the person, then there's no point for me to be over text. Maybe on the phone, I could be like, yo, David, did you have a good holiday? Because we're talking, we're humans. But over a direct message on social media or an email, I'm going to be direct, I'm going to be blunt, and I'm going to get to the point. Does this make sense, guys? Save the small talk, the building rapport stuff for when you get the call. Before the call, it's all about being direct and blunt and talking about outcome-based things. I can help you convert your following into emails. Then I can turn those emails into consistent revenue. I can do this at no cost, and I can do this consistently and repeatedly, day after day, at no cost, putting more money in your pocket. I wanted to bump up my proposal so you can check it out. Like, direct, blunt, to the point. I get these messages all the time from people who are like, may I ask you a question, Mark? Do you have a high ticket offer? And I'm like, first of all, may you ask me a question? No, you ask me the damn question right now, because for me to have to reply and say, yes, David, you can ask me a question, you just wasted my time. Ask me the damn question so I can get straight to the point of replying to you. And I get these messages all the time. I got one this morning, which is why I'm heated on it, is because somebody literally was like, before, and then I answer the question. And then they'll ask me another question. May I ask you another question? And I literally am like, no, this time you may not ask me another question. You should have just asked it right then. I can't keep asking you answering your question and then know that your next reply will be, may I ask you one more follow-up question? No, you just blew it. So again, hopefully this is helpful for you guys to understand. It's about positioning. I can tell so much about somebody with a simple message. The wealthiest, richest people I know are super direct and super blunt over text and email. When you get on the phone, that's the chance to be a little bit nicer and really let your personality shine. But that's what I got for you guys. I'm just reading your guys' messages here. Love it, Shane.
And guys, I know we're asking like, where are the examples, blah, blah. We'll be getting into that right now. We just want to give you the bird's eye view, understand the process, and Mark's going to go deeper into each one of these steps here as we go along.
But this is so important, because if you mess up this part, you're going to lose out on so many opportunities that could have been amazing. You could have had an incredible person. Like, for example, like a lot of the people I've worked with are extremely blunt and direct, and guess what? The people who are blunt and direct usually have team members who are blunt and direct. And so you may be like, oh, well, I'm just talking to the team member of fill in the blank with the person. They probably have a blunt and direct team member because they're so used to their boss, the influencer thought leader, being direct and blunt, that they attract people around them like that. Send here prior to the call or as part of. Yeah, so we'll get to that, Ryan, regarding the Google Doc. We just send them a one-page proposal, which we've given you guys access to, and we're going to cover that today. So then you send them the proposal, and we're going to talk about that in greater detail. We have the templates for you guys. Follow up to schedule a call to do more due diligence. So if you send in the proposal and they say, I love this, Ian, Joey, David, you did an incredible job. Thank you so much for sending this proposal over. I'm totally down to get on a call. Great. Then you get on the call. And that's where you can have more of your personality shine. You don't need to be as direct and blunt because now you're on the call and you have an opportunity to just like let the person know. And I like to do Zoom calls, by the way, so I can see the person, but I like to be on camera because you got to think about your what's your benefit? Are you good on camera? Are you good at talking? And if so, then you want to try to be on camera and you want to be on a video. And even if you're not, I think you should try to do a Zoom call if possible, because there's a certain level of connection that happens. And that's why, like, when somebody does a really big deal, like a big deal, they usually meet in person. Does it make sense? Why would you meet in person when you could do it virtual? Because when you're doing a really big deal, like I'm going to buy your company for $30 million, I've never met you. Everything on the balance sheet looks good. The P&L looks good. The tax returns look good. The audit looks good, but I've never met you. I still want to meet you. And so just remember, the Zoom call is the closest way to meet the person, where you can see each other on video and get that little bit of trust that can be bridged from I'm just a random guy or gal on the internet who hit you up to now we're talking. You can see me. And in that scenario, you want to try to have good lighting, good audio, and have a good, no noise, no distraction, like mine. Like I'm in like my sanctuary right now. I got a good mic, I got good lighting, I got good audio, and there's no distraction. So you can talk to me and you know I'm dropped in. I'm not like, sorry, I got all my kids in the background and, and there's all this noise of the construction. Bad. They're going to be like, dude, this is chaotic on the first meeting. I'm out. And I'm telling you guys this stuff because this is like simple, really important ways to get the deal done. Does it make sense? So you got the call scheduled. Now this is where, let me zoom out here a little bit. If the creator and the influencer and the expert is interested, then you'll basically be able to move to the next phase. If they're not interested, on to the next. Sometimes I sent the proposal, they're interested, then we get on the call, and then maybe something happens and they say, I'm interested, and then time goes by and I follow up with them over email, and then I don't hear back from them. And then at some point I give them the final, like, hey, David, we had a great call. You said you were interested. I've been following up with you a couple of times, haven't heard back from you. So if I don't hear back from you by the end of the week, I'll assume that you're not interested, and we will allocate the rest of our time to finding another client partner relationship to work with. And then David's like, okay, like that's my last shot. And then I'm not being desperate. At some point, I usually follow up with the person maybe 2 or 3 times, just so you guys know. I know sometimes they say, follow up till they die. When I was a salesperson and I was like getting paid commission only, I would follow up relentlessly until, the person died or I died. And I would follow up and follow up and follow up and follow up. But this, you don't want to come off desperate. That you're just a salesperson at a company. This is like your brand, your partnership. You don't want to come off desperate. So I only follow up maybe 2 or 3 times, just so you guys know. If I had the call, and even all the way back at the proposal stage, if I hit you up on a DM or email, I'm only going to follow up 2 or 3 times. And then I'll change the way that I follow up. Hey, by the way, what I didn't mention in my proposal was the last person we did this with got these results. And sometimes you can borrow that credibility from the results of your agency partner. So like I haven't got any results because I've never done this. I just joined your guys' program. I'm speaking on behalf of you. So how could I do that, Mark? How could I possibly say that this is the results of my last client? Well, you could say, my partner, Mike Balmaceda, did $57 million on the last launch that he did. And I would say we. So I'd say we did $57 million on the last launch with a crypto offer. And that's why we're reaching out to you, Shannon, because we think your audience is incredible and we'd love to see if we can replicate those results, even if it's a little bit smaller. And then that might get Shannon to be like, holy crap. So do you guys see how like in the follow-up, I might try to like tease them with results that came from one of my agency partners? You get that? That's where the borrowed credibility comes in. If they say that they trust you and they're ready to start and they love the idea and they want to be one of your next big success partnerships, then that's when you guys can move to sending them the contract and going straight from phase 1 to phase 2. So it can happen fast. Sometimes they'll say, hey, I got 2 options for you. One is we go slow. If they go, I don't really want to like sign a contract and immediately commit to this like long-term partnership, because sometimes they'll be like, dude, let's go. This sounds nuts. Let's rock and roll. We built rapport. I trust the process. I've been waiting for this. People have pitched me on this, but they want to charge me an arm and a leg. You're willing to do this, no money up front. Let's go. And so they'll be like, let's just start. And then you'll still do phase one, which is converting the following into a wait list or an email list. So that way you have some part of a database, and maybe they already have some database, which is why there's so many potentials. What if this? What if that? Every deal is unique. I said that in the very beginning of the call. Every deal will be unique, and for a variety of reasons. So sometimes they'll say, hey, I want to start slow. I want to do phase one. I don't want to sign anything yet. I just want to see if you can convert my following into an email list. I'll give you 30 to 60 days to do it, and then see if we can make some money from it. And if that happens, great. And then I'll say, David, once we've done that, can we then move to signing the contract and do phase two, which is maybe launching another product? Maybe in phase one, all I'm doing is helping them convert their following into emails, and then selling their affiliate products. So they see that their current monetization model for selling affiliate products is happening in a new distribution channel via email. And so they're selling the same thing, but doing it over email, which can be more consistent and repeatable because you can email every single day the product to sell them something. Versus social media, they don't want to come off like a sellout and turn their whole content channel into just a pitch fest. But email is designed to be that. At content plus a pitch, content plus a call to action, easier to do. So phase one, you may not even create a product. You may just sell their existing methodology for monetization and convert their following into email subscribers. Then you'll prove to them, phase two, let's sign the contract. And now I'll sell your product. And this product will be probably something digital where we have higher margins and we can sell it at scale because there's no shipping or manufacturing or cost of goods or probably even cost of fulfillment. It's just digital. And that's where you go to phase two, and then phase three, and then phase four, which is where you can add in affiliates and you can add in paid media. And that's where it gets really exciting. So that's the simplicity of the follow-up process and the reach out methodology. And again, every single one might be slightly different with how many times you have to follow up, who introduced you. Maybe you didn't even have to do cold outreach. Maybe it was a personal introduction, which some people in the group have already had. Say, I reached out to somebody in my network who knows this influencer or thought leader, and they ended up making an introduction to me. So that whole process was for cold, direct outreach. You did the research, you found the person, you reached out to the person. But like I said, there's so many ways that this will eventually start to snowball for you. You will eventually start to crush one client relationship, and they'll make an introduction to their friend, because most successful people have successful friends, and most influencers and content creators have friends. How many friends do you think Mr. Beast knows that are Jimmy, the biggest YouTuber in the world, that are also big YouTubers? A lot. And same thing with like most of my celebrity clients, Jake Paul, Mike Tyson, Floyd Mayweather, Dan Bilzerian, Alex Jones, and so on and so forth. They all know other successful people, and they all told me, hey, if you crush it for me, I'll introduce you to all my friends because they want this too. And so right there, a lot of the times you just need to get one person that you get results for who then introduces you to the next person. And it's almost like an instantly done deal, because if you crushed it for their friend and then they introduce you, like, it's so easy to do. Does that make sense? And so the cold outreach eventually goes away. I don't do cold outreach anymore. I did cold outreach for like 6 months, and then boom, I didn't need to do cold outreach because I just hit what I call like the tipping point super fast, where I had enough clients, enough people all sending me business that I got to have that position of power. And that's what I want for you to be looking forward to, is you don't have to be doing cold outreach forever. You just need to do it in the beginning, and then it's going to start to snowball. Make sense? And then this is where it gets really cool too. What might happen, and I want you guys to keep this in mind, this is a really big one, is at some point you will have too many deals. You will not be able to take on all the deals. And that's where I want you to have other people in this group here that you can refer to. And you can say, hey, I've got too many deals. Hey, I'm sorry, but I became the biggest successful student in the group. Sorry. I now have too much deals. Can I send them to the rest of the group? And then what I would do is I would take like a 5% royalty, just so you guys know, like, what would the number be? What would Mark do? I would probably say 5%. And that would be like lifetime, 5% lifetime. And that's on profit. So 5% of profit. So if the deal ends up doing, I'll put a big number out there, $100,000 a month in profit, which would be a big deal. I would say, great job. You guys are doing a really good job. You who made that referral would get $5,000 a month just coming in. And I'm giving out big numbers, but lower it to 10 grand. Maybe the deal is only doing 10 grand a month profit. You're getting $500 a month. That'll probably cover some bills for you. And that was just for a referral. And that would be like a really, really small referral. Because, like, think about it. For me, I had some deals do $1 million a day. You'd be getting $50,000 a day as the referral. So this is where it gets blow your brains out. Like, you can go buy a house with the money you made from the referral that you sent me. And that's what happened. I had people sending me referrals and they were like, oh my God, the commission I'm getting is so big that I want to make my day job sending you deals. And then I was like, I can't handle all of these deals. So then I would find other people that I could refer them to for just like a part of the deal, because not everybody does the full publishing. So my point is, my goal for you guys is to be super crushing it to the point where you have so much business coming in from your outreach and whatever that you need to start referring other people in the group here. Does that make sense? By the way, that's a business model in itself. That's being a broker. You'd be like, yo, I actually don't have to ever do fulfillment. I just find the deal and then refer them to all the people in the group here and post it in the Discord channel and be like, got another one. Cause maybe you're just like an absolute slayer at reaching out, right? Maybe other people struggle with it, but you're just like so good at reaching out that and doing the call. Like maybe like I'm really good at that. So like that's my thing. So like I'll reach out and I get on the call, and then I can pretty much close any deal. And then I can refer them. And so that's one of the things that you guys could look forward to, is like maybe the rest of the business model you actually don't enjoy, but you're so good at the reach out and the phone call and the Zoom meeting to get the person to be like, dude, you can sell this vision so good that I want to be part of the vision. And so there you go. Craig says, Mark wants to send me deals. I'm happy to. You're already crushing it, bro.
Dude.
But again, yeah, I can send you guys deals too. You know,
Yeah,
like I was talking to Josh. I got a guy with 20 million followers and billions and billions. Billions. I think he has 8 billion views, 20 million followers. He's like one of the top influencers. I won't say his name. And he wants us to publish him Q1, so starting next month. And I told Josh, I was like, hey, I'm busy, but do you want to do it? And then just give me a cut, and I'll be part of it with you. Because like he has to know that it's me, right? I can't just be like, peace, here's this guy named Josh. He has to know that I'm still a part of it. And so I was telling Josh, I was like, maybe we'll go 50-50 on the deal. You'll publish it, and you know, and I'll do high level consulting and strategy, and we'll go out and we'll crush it. And so right there, it's like, boom, there's a massive influencer that if I said the name, I bet maybe 80-90% of you would immediately know who it was.
Yeah. I've been dropping the name to my family and they're like, oh yeah, I know that it is. But one thing I was talking to my funnel designer, he's in here, Rez. He crushes it. I bring a lot of all my deals he's a part of. But he just asked me, he's like, Josh, like, how can I level up? Like, I'm doing funnel design. Like, how do I take this publishing thing? And I was like, well, here's the thing, dude. Like, just your funnel design stuff, go in, partner with people inside the group are finding good deals. You handle their fulfillment, do the funnels with them. You get a cut of what they bring to you. Like, some people like to be the operations side. Like, some of you guys would like to be the one doing the marketing, doing the copy, being behind the scenes. And that's great. And there's me, others of you here who are like me, who are kind of like Mark, where we like to go out and talk and make connections and bring people in. And so that's why we created that Skillshare Discord channel, so you guys can just start sharing what your strengths are. And then you guys can just partner up with each other, figure out what good, who you get along with, who you enjoy working with. And it's a great symbiotic relationship. So yeah, I think that's a great way to kind of find what do you like? Do you like the relationship or do you like the operations behind the scenes? So yeah, talk to Rez. He's my go-to for my funnels, my funnel design, my publishing deals. And if you bring him good deals, I mean, he's a good funnel designer. Bring him big deals, good potential. He'd love to come in. He does copy, he does all the other stuff too. And there's many more people here who are also great. And in the future, still working on it. We're gonna give you a full-fledged like contractor Rolodex of all the people I've worked with that I loved, that Mark's worked with that he's loved. So we'll try to save you from that. We'll show you how to have good job boards to go to. But right in this community, there's already great people. So
exactly. Yeah, you guys will be able to find a lot of rock stars in this group here. Okay, so as we continue with how to reach out and pitch the celebrity influencer, thought leader, creator, you've got access to this graph here. So Josh will make sure you guys get this when you get your access to the slides. So there's 3 effective methods. Reach out to creators directly over social media, email, or pitch them in person maybe at an event or something. Like I said, you can find out what events they go to. Get connected through a friend or a former client. Identify their agent if they have an agent or a manager, which is usually just a simple search online. Their job is to be discovered. Like I said, Knight Media, Knight, Knight Media represents a lot of big influencers and celebrities like Mr. Beast, Jimmy. And so you can go find those. You can just type in on Google agencies that represent influencers. Ta-da! It'll pop up with a bunch. And then just keep digging and digging and digging, and you'll see. But not everybody has an agency or a management firm, but a lot do now. It's a very common thing once you get to like 1 million or 2 million or 3 million followers. So reach out directly on social media, email, or pitch in person. It's going to be best for outgoing personalities who can visualize the entire business and its value. So like if I meet somebody in person, I'm confident since I've done this so many times that I could pitch it right out the gate. But again, if you're not in a position where you're like, I got the pitch dialed, I know exactly how to walk them through the different phases. I know exactly what questions to ask them about how they're monetizing, what their conversion rate is, basic, simple questions. Then you probably wouldn't want to pitch them in person if you're not ready to do that. You'd want to like structure it, do some due diligence, set up a call, and go in like super prepared. But I could be like not prepared at all. And I could just be like, yo, what's your following count? Do you convert them into emails? How much? If you don't, that's an opportunity. If you do, what's your conversion rate from follower to email? Like how many emails do you have versus followers? Have you been split testing your opt-in to see if like a different opt-in would convert better? No, I haven't. There's the opportunity. See, so there's always like, are you even converting followers to emails? If you are, have you been split testing it? What's your conversion rate? When they do give you their email, how long are you emailing them? How frequently are you emailing them? What are you emailing them? Are you checking your opens? Are you checking your clicks? Are you checking your inbox for spam rate? Like, you guys starting to see like that's where I'm dealing it down, and they go, fuck, I'm not doing any of that stuff. And I go, okay, right there. That's the opportunity then. Like, I just found it. You're either not converting followers into emails, and if you are, I bet your email game is not where it should be. Again, I'm just diving into the chat here to make sure you guys are good. Do you save time with pitching them straight rather than doing due diligence? It depends, right? Like if the bigger they are, the more due diligence you need to do. But the due diligence is not insane. What I like to do is just basically what I just said. Are they already converting followers into emails? What's their following count? What's their engagement rate? What are their links in their bio? How are they currently monetizing? That's kind of it, guys. Like that's it. Like there's your due diligence. We can do it super fast. You could find somebody for me, and that's what I'm going to look for right there. Following count, engagement rate, how are they making money right now? If it's obvious, what are the links in their bios? And then are they converting consistently, repeatedly, following on social into emails, subscribers? And then from there, once I have that, then the real question begins. What are they, if they're not doing email, they need to be. If they are, all those other factors. What's their open rate? What's their click-through rate? What's their frequency rate that they're sending emails? How long are they managing and nurturing the list? What are they pitching? Are they split testing different things? What's their inbox for spam rate? So that's where the whole thing starts to dial in, and it's like email marketing 101. Okay, so we talked about that. The approach, you could reach out on Instagram or email, summarize the business and potential income for them with minimal work, push for a phone call to discuss more. Again, we're going to give you guys the simple proposal that I send people. It's like a 1-pager. Some of them are 3-pagers, just depending on what we're sending. And also, you can't really send the proposal that's a 3-pager until you know who your agency partners are, because that's where you'll put some of the credibility flexing, like we've done this, we've done that, and really you haven't done anything. The agency you partner with has done it all, but you're borrowing their credibility in the proposal and saying, we did $57 million for this last person we published, we manage $150 million in ad spend, we manage this, we do that, we did this, and you're like, holy crap, you're really good. And it's like, well, actually I did nothing, they did, but I'm borrowing their credibility ethically because that's what they did, and they're going to be partnered with me on this deal with you. And so it's 100% ethical. It's just like, this is what they did. I represent them now. So this is what we did as a salesperson. You get to say what your company did. We did this. We do that. We're going to do this for you. It's like, well, you're the sales guy. You're actually not going to do anything for me. Well, I represent the company, so I can say that. Okay, makes sense. So that's how it's going to work. So you can feel good about it, right? If you're a salesperson, you immediately are taught to say what the company's done. Does it make sense? You're selling the company, not you. So in this case, you partner with an agency. You're selling the agency's results, not yours. Make sense? So you can have the confidence to know going into this, you don't have to have any results at all. You're a salesperson who represents what this agency partner's done, and they're going to be partners with you on this deal for this client. Ta-da, instant credibility, instant confidence, which is why your proposal might be reflective of who your agency partners are. And if you don't have them yet, then your proposal is going to lack that important critical factor of credibility. So you push for the phone call. This is probably the best and easiest for small to mid-size influencers, because they're not going to have an agency. They're not going to have a manager. So you can probably just hit them up directly and see if you can push it on a phone call, which is what many of our students in this group have already been doing successfully, reaching out on direct messages or email, and then getting the person to agree to have a phone call and then closing the deal. You guys are already doing this, which is incredible. So you can reach out directly to smaller creators. Often it eliminates the need for navigating gatekeepers like an agency or a lawyer, and allows for faster decision-making. So in a dream scenario, you just get straight on the phone call. After hitting them up, you get on the call with the expert and the influencer. Another thing that I like to do is on the call, sometimes I'll say, is there any other decision makers that need to be on this call? Do you have any partners? Do you have anybody else who would be, a dictator on the ability for us to move forward with something today? And if they say, no, there's nobody else, then I say, great, wonderful. And if there is, I say, okay, well, we can keep talking, but at some point we'll probably need to have them on the next call. Make sense? Because a lot of the times, like, depending on how you're going about it. If they go, I have a business partner. Okay, well, we need the business partner on the call. So we can talk and get the vision exciting, but then at some point we can't like make a decision together to move forward without them. And so just so you guys know, that's an important one, because you don't want to go through this beautiful hour-long call and then at the end they go, great, let me think about it and run it by my partner. And you're like, you have a partner? You just told me now? And so that's why it's your job to ask. It's almost like, if you walk up to a girl at the bar and you're trying to hit on her, and then like you had this great interaction, and then you find out that she has a boyfriend, and you're like, I wish I had asked in the first 10 seconds. And so same exact concept, right? So getting connected through a friend or former client, like I said, I mean, I've had incredible people in my relationships, like Dan Fleischman, where he's just been such an amazing person for me as a connector. Anytime I need an introduction to anybody, but I've known Dan for 10 years and I've always been there to support him, just as he's always been there to support me. And so this is where building your personal brand and networking is one of those tried and true things you'll hear forever. Your personal brand matters, which is your reputation, right? I call it personal branding, but it's your reputation. What does somebody say about you behind their back? Hey, is this a good guy to work with? Hey, is this a good girl to work with? Do they have a good reputation? Have they ever screwed you over? Have you ever heard anything negative about them? Et cetera, et cetera. So your personal brand is your reputation. It's important to always be building it. Also, if you hit somebody up on Instagram or LinkedIn or Facebook and they go to your profile and you look like a dirtbag, or just a non-qualified, non-credible person, they're going to be like, I don't think the big, bold claims you're making are reflective of your brand. You look like a Joe Blow. And so that's where building a brand is good. And then networking is good because you're going to meet people for this, getting connected through a friend or former client or, acquaintance. And so this is where, I pulled a bunch of my big celebrities this way. Dan Fleischman and other people, agency partners, became really good referral sources for me. Also, here's an example of a friend doing a podcast with a celebrity. So my friends, Mike and Mark, are helping other celebs put up online courses. They're making a ton of money for the celebs. You should totally do something like that and make a lot of money too. And so we had one of my friends who does a podcast interviewing big name guests. And so that's one of the things I did was I approached my friend who's a podcaster who interviews big thought leaders and experts and influencers. And I said, hey, I'll pay you a referral commission of 5% forever on any of your guests on your podcast you refer to me. So you guys see that? I'm going to say that again. My friend has a podcast. He interviews big influencers. I said to my friend, I'll give you 5% of all the money I make with your guests on your podcast if they sign up with me to publish them. And he was like, well, first of all, I know you're a badass and you actually can do this. So I'm going to make a bunch of referrals and get my 5% forever. And so for you guys, you could maybe don't have a friend who's got a podcast, but you could go out and reach out to a podcaster and say, hey, I got an interesting proposal. You have all these big guests. And maybe what you do too is this. Maybe you do something with the podcaster. Maybe you publish a podcaster to monetize their podcast, like my buddy John Lee Dumas with Entrepreneur on Fire makes $3 to $4 million a year with his podcast, just completely automated with like one employee, and it's his wife. $3 to $4 million a year from his podcast. He's been doing it for 12 years. He started making that money on about year 4, just so you guys know. And John Lee Dumas crushes it. He's an absolute killer when it comes to making money on podcasting. So you could find somebody like John Lee Dumas and say, hey, I'll publish your podcast and get people to convert into email subscribers and sell them a digital course from you, like John Lee Dumas eventually did. He had a podcast. He then eventually started teaching people how to build a successful podcast, how to monetize their podcast, how to build their brand, how to do outreach, what equipment they should use for their podcast, et cetera, et cetera. He made a whole brand off of his podcast around building a successful podcast. And you could have been the one publishing him. And then the real thing is, not only are you going to make money publishing the podcaster, but it was to prove to the podcaster, like a game of chess, that I really only published you so that I could build the trust and the relationship with you so that I could then have you refer me to your guests on your show. And that's a Trojan horse. You don't have to tell the podcaster that's what you're doing. You just strategically publish a podcaster, even though it may not be your dream unicorn Pace Morby client. Josh is saying he's going to do this now. You find somebody like that, and then there you go. Now you've published them, and really they're what I call a honeypot. They're a Trojan horse honeypot. I didn't actually want you as a client, but I knew if I got you as a client and I crushed it for you, then you would refer me to the honeypot of all your guests on your show, and I would have an endless supply of referrals. Josh, you want to jump in? I see you grinning from cheek to cheek, bro.
No. This is good. I was just laughing at what Ryan said. He said it's like being friends with a girl for her fine friends.
Right, exactly. Right. We have all these funny metaphors we're using here, but yes,
But
exactly.
yeah, and also like another thing we talked about the last call, but it's like obviously there's a lot of podcasts out there where like everyone's interviewing other people or entrepreneurs. Like it's kind of gotten busy ever since obviously Mark, you did at one of the biggest levels. I mean, your show is on a bunch of Delta Airlines, whatever. I remember
Uh-huh.
sitting there watching it. But I mean, even now, like I do interviews on my YouTube channel, and I mean, when I interviewed you, we got like 1,000 views, and I interviewed some other people, and they crossed like 1,000, nothing crazy. But I wasn't doing it for the views. So I'm not, my money wasn't made on the podcast. It was the
Yep.
connections to publish people. So even for
Yep.
you guys, maybe you're doing your own interviews or you're finding ways to get these people just in touch with you. It's like almost your lead magnet. It's almost like your phase one. Like Mark, my phase one, I kind of did accidentally was like, hey, Mark, let me just interview you. And then after the call, I was like, dude, wouldn't it be sick if we did like a master class or something on
Mhm.
this? And then Mark was like, oh, yeah, send me some deets, send me a proposal, something like that. And I sent him a text and then here we are today. So maybe you're doing a podcast. Maybe
Yep.
it's on Facebook, right? There's ways that you can do your own stuff to kind of leverage these connections. And so
Exactly.
people then after the call, they're like, hey, what can I do for you? Like all my guests always ask me,
Yeah.
oh, this is great. What can I do for you? And I'm like, well, if you know anybody
Yeah.
who's got this many followers, performance only, connect me with them.
Exactly.
They're like, oh yeah, easy, because it's like an easy sell. So
Exactly. And
great way to
that's
do that.
where this podcast strategy, I'm a huge advocate, as you guys know, about teaching different methodologies for doing podcast strategies. So that's one of them right there. It's an extremely powerful method for you guys. Um, So next one is identify their agent and pitch them directly. Again, not most of the people you guys are reaching out to, luckily, by the way, luckily won't have an agent or a manager because again, I don't like having a middle person who I know has the best interest of the other client and their job is to be a bulldog and negotiate with me. And then I never actually get to talk to the real decision maker because this person's in the middle being like a roadblock whose job is to like get the best deal and whatever. And so, yeah, that's why it's important to not be like, it's 50-50, but rather it's 50 grand or 100 grand, or I tell people it's $250,000, $250,000, plus we take a percentage on the back, but it's a smaller percentage. It might be 20 or 30% depending on what we believe the upside could be. So you pay $250,000 up front, and then after you reimburse your $250,000 back, so if we launch the product and it does $1 million, you definitely got your $250,000 back. Then once you got your $250,000 back, then my 20% kicks in. So our company's 20%. So you pay us $250,000 up front. Once you reimburse that back to yourself, you put it back in your pocket. So now it never happened. Then our 20% royalty on profit kicks in. Or right out the gate, it costs you no money. So no $250,000, zero. But we do 50-50. And so we incur any expenses on our side outside of the ones that we'll get into, like if we decide to do ad spend or if there's any other expenses like that, or refunds, chargebacks, merchant processing fees. Those are all obviously covered inside the company that we do together, but it's 50-50. There's no money up front. And then any internal operating expenses are all taken out of the company's revenue. And then we distribute 50-50 to each other. And that's, you guys see how when I frame it that way, I go, so which one would you like to do, David? He's like, well, damn, I don't want to pay $250,000 up front. I'm going to do the 50-50. And I go, bingo. So now the negotiation is not on, hey, it's 50-50. No, it ain't. I'm a big dog. It's 70-30. And you're like, well, let me message Josh and Mark. But if you start with, I'm going to give you this really attractive reason why it's $250,000, but you recoup the first $250,000 back, and then my 20% kicks in. And it's like, well, that actually sounds like a pretty good deal too. If I believe this is going to go to $20 million, then that's actually the better deal. But I don't want to take the risk, so I'll do 50-50. And so this is why if I can have this conversation with you up front and not a middleman agency person or manager agent, it's better because that person's job is to negotiate on behalf of the other person. And I'd rather negotiate with you, the person I'm going to do the deal with, not a middleman who has no benefit in the deal at all. So many big celebrities have agents who handle deals, schedules, and act as gatekeepers. Agents are primarily motivated by making money and will pitch the opportunity to the celebrity if it aligns with their interests. Understanding agents typically get a percentage from the celebrity on any deal, so they're going to try to ask for cash up front. Another reason why I don't like having agents in the deal, but I can convince them to defer the payment and say, hey, we're not paying money up front, we're doing 50-50, but you as an agent will get this much on the back and I'll take it out of my cut, so I get 50%. So you don't want to negotiate my cut down, bro, because I'm giving you 10% of it. So that's where the agent could be like, so my client will get their 50 and I'll get my 50. And then from my 50, I'm going to give you 10. So I actually only make 40. And then they're like, dang, that's a really good deal. And so that's another reason why I don't like an agent, because I don't want to have to allocate 10 or 5% to the agent. You guys starting to get this? That's another reason why I said you are lucky you're not going after giant celebrities who have an agent or a manager who's going to want to take typically 10 or 20% of the deal. Normally, by the way, they take it from the celebrity side. Just so you guys know, they don't take it from my side. They take it from the celebrity side, but I like to incentivize them to get the deal done. I'll give them something on my side as well. So agents usually take a percentage from the celebrity on their side on any deals. That's what's typical. So if they negotiate $1 million paid up front to the celebrity, they'll get, 10, 20% of that from the celebrity's payout. So the celebrity makes, their percentage minus the agent's payment. But sometimes I try to incentivize the agent, like I said, which is why I don't like to have agents, because I don't want to have a middle person who's taking a coupon for themselves when I'm trying to be the middle person for my agency partners who are doing the work. And you start to see how it's like, I'm actually the broker, agent, manager of my team who's doing the work, and they're getting paid. And so that's where it's like, I want less cooks in the kitchen trying to get a little cut, I want more pizza on the table for all of us to share, but I don't want an agent coming in and getting 10 or 20% of it up front, especially if it comes from the celebrity side. The celebrity is looking at this as they only got 40%. You see how now the celebrity's like, I only got 40% because my agent took 10. And you're like, shit, okay. So again, try to not do deals with agents if possible. You'll be way happier. And then typical agent fees can be 10% of profit on deals that they get signed. Some agents may try to negotiate higher percentages because many people agree to their terms, especially depending on the bigger celebrity. Dwayne Johnson, Justin Bieber, Taylor Swift, like those agents are just brutal because they can get whatever they want. All right, peace. We're not going to give you the celebrity. You're like, oh, we need them though. And so again, it's just a pain in the butt to reach out with these agents. Some agents may try to negotiate higher percentages because many people agree to their terms. If they ask for more than 10%, you can insist on 10% or decide to not work with them. Sometimes it's better to walk away from a deal than to take a deal that's not good. I'm going to say that again. Sometimes it's better to just walk away from a deal. I'm going to remind you of that, because sometimes you're like, man, I really want this deal. Sometimes it's better to walk away from the deal. Alternatively, and you feel so much better about yourself. You have so much pride and confidence when you're like, I chose to walk away from that deal. I chose to. Alternatively, agree to a higher percentage. Example, you give them 20% to get some proof under your belt. So you could be like, I'm gonna eat dirt and mud for the first deal, so I can get that credibility and that track record. So maybe I will make a lot less on this deal just to get the track record, so I can get the next deal and the next deal, like building blocks, right? Like, don't have too much pride. And that's where you kind of balance, like, when should I eat the mud and just do a deal where I make 5% instead of I'm trying to make more, just to get the deal done. And so again, these are all reasons why you have access to Josh and I to help you navigate through this. Plus, most of your deals won't have agents, but I'm just covering it.
Yeah, and I think this is good too, because I know some of you guys. I was talking to couple of people, and they are like finding agents, websites that list all our creators, and they are contacting the agents. So although like we're suggesting, you probably don't want to have the agent there. There are some people who are going for those higher tier people to start, and so we want to make sure we're giving you guys multiple options, because at some point you may want to. So some of this, you're like, okay, it doesn't apply to me. Great, it's here. Shelve it. Understand it. Again, on these calls, focus on understanding, and then we'll give you the application later.
And just replace the word agent with somebody who's making the introduction for you, the podcaster, the friend, the agency. Somebody might be making an introduction for you, and they may not be an agent, but they may want a cut. So all of this stuff still applies to you potentially. They just might be the podcaster who's going to make the introductions to all their guests. They just might be the person who hosts annual events that has big guests come. They might be a friend who's like me, who's like, yo, I'm going to refer somebody in this group who looks like they're doing a good job. One of my big clients, because I don't have the time, the bandwidth capacity, or the desire to do the deal. I'll send it down to one of you guys, and then you can do the deal. I'm going to ask you for a percentage, right? Like, so that's where you got to remember, you may think this doesn't apply, but it probably will apply in some capacity. Also, Shannon asked a good question. She said, when you're reaching out to, do you mention that you do 7-figure launches with celebrities, or do you not mention figures? I don't say 6-figure or 7-figure. I put dollar amounts, because if you say 6-figure or 7-figure to a person that you're trying to pitch, it's too broad. Is 7 figures $1 million, or is it 9 million? And so say the exact number to the closest dollar amount. So we did $57 million in 14 days. We did $1,275,000 in our first month. I'm giving real numbers with a real time frame. I'm not just arbitrarily saying we do 7 figs in 1 year. You're like, what? what is the dollar amount? Is it 1 million or is it 5 million? Because that's a big difference. And I'm not motivated by 1 million, but I probably will be for five. And so like, don't be like a lot of the people you see online, which I don't have any quarrels with saying 6 figures or 7 figures or 8 figures. But when you're reaching out in the format of a proposal, you give a real number. We did this dollar amount in this time frame for this client. Does that make sense, guys? Don't just start throwing around numbers. We expect to do 7 figures. What does that mean? In what time frame? What exact dollar amount? And how are you getting to that dollar amount? Because I'll say, David, we did 6 million with this client. We did 11 million with this client. We did 57 million with this client. We did 1.2 million with this client in this time frame, in this time frame, in this time frame, in this time frame. The reason why we think we can do $2 million in 90 days with you is because we take on average 1% of your followers, convert them into emails. Because you have 1 million followers, that's 10,000 emails. Of the 10,000 emails, they didn't just register arbitrarily, they registered for something that's contextually congruent to the new offer that we're about to launch to them. And if we can just get a 3% conversion rate on your emails, which is a great conversion rate, we'll be looking at 300 sales. And the 300 sales at $2,000 is $600,000 in the first week of the launch. Then we'll have an upsell and then we'll have a downsell and we'll do this, this, and this. And that's how we get to the $2 million. They're going to be like, shit, this guy came prepared. This guy came out with some reverse engineered real numbers that he's done from the previous numbers. So there you guys go. Also make sure that if you're going to drop numbers that you just feel confident that like the agency told you could, or that the client, maybe you don't say the client's name. You just say client A, client B. Ideally though, you'd say the name, because if somebody says client A, I'm kind of like, did you just make this up? Versus if they say the person's real name, if they're like David Lush, Josh Gavin, I'm like, you just dropped the person's name. I can go and look this up. And then if I look it up, like even better, what we do is we actually put the link to the funnel that we built for the offer. So I'm like, we did this many millions in this time frame for this person with this offer. Here's the link to the funnel. And then they can click the link to the funnel and go see the exact funnel that we published. And even if it might be like a turned off page, like on YouTube, you can do an unlisted video that no one can find it. The website doesn't, like no one's going to find that video, but we use it just as a URL for these templates. So the funnel might be turned off, like the offer might be shut down, closed, the launch might be not going on, but we have a URL with a link for the funnel just for people to go through and see what it looks like. And we'll tell them, hey, it's not turned on, so don't try to buy the product or anything. It's just for you to visually see it. And then they're like, dang, now you guys can see how the proposal becomes really attractive when I'm able to say a dollar amount in a time frame for the person with the link to the offer. And they're going to be like, okay, I mean, you're not hiding anything. So finding agents, you can use Google to identify agents. You can look for celebrities posing in pictures with their agent or mentioning them on Instagram. You can even ask Claude or ChatGPT, who are some big agencies or agents or managers of influencers and thought leaders and experts in this industry or niche or broad in general. It'll come up with it. And then eventually you'll meet one of them and they'll introduce you to somebody. Agents and managers and brokers, they're all hustlers. They're all sharks. They're all trying to make that money. They're all trying to get deals done. So just know when you meet these people, they don't get paid salaries. They don't get paid income. They only get a percentage of what they kill. So these are literally people who live and die on their ability to make deals happen. So just know these are very experienced deal makers. So they want to get a deal done. So when you reach out to them, don't be afraid. Just know that these are people who are like, yo, if you've got that money, if you've got that deal, let's go. I want to get something going now. Like they will try to send you 30 clients in a month and you'll be like, whoa, I can't handle this many. And it'll be like fire hose. And that's what you want. That's what I'm saying is like, you guys are going to love this model because it's extremely attractive to agents, brokers, managers, referral partners, podcasters, etc. And then once the money starts coming in, then it gets really exciting. So reaching out again, call them, email them. It's really easy. You can go to events. There's events that agents and managers go to, which you can look online. Just like there's Affiliate Con, Affiliate Summit, Affiliate Vegas. Like there's all these events where like 10,000 affiliates get together. You can go to those events if you're looking for affiliates. Like, ta-da! It's not that hard. There's events where there's just agents and just managers.
Yeah. Another thing too is like I've been joining like Discords where YouTubers hang out. So I'll go to like there's a lot of like these people who are like in the creator economy. If you go on YouTube and look up like creator economy, there's like these YouTubers like Colin Samir, there's this other dude where they're kind of like in that space and they gather a lot of creators or managers, go hang out there. Like I'll try to be in those communities just to see what's up, see like who to talk to. And so that's another way that I've found some connection, especially if you're going after YouTubers. There's a lot of people just look up like Discords with YouTubers because that's like where they like to hang out is Discords. Also, like I said, Facebook groups where software companies are gathering people. And which Discord channels? There's a few. Like, I would just look it up and search because if I tell you guys one or two, you're all gonna flood into one or two, and it's gonna be like, oh my gosh. So go search, look on Google, find these people, and then it won't be like, oh gosh, Josh just ruined these Discord channels for these people. Like, don't go and start messing it up. But they're out there, and I've seen a couple of them. So, again, go on YouTube, look up like Colin Smear and all those people, and they'll be there. Another thing too is we won't break it down on the call here because you guys can just check it out. But I included just some like cold outreach suggestions of how you can frame things, just to give you a starting point. Again, like Mark said, you'll have to change things and tweak it, make sure it fits you and your language. But this will give you a good starting place. And I know for a lot of you guys, that's what you need to just get the momentum going. So when you get this doc, you'll see another doc, which is linked in there under cold outreach suggestions. And I show you just like how I would frame the message, a couple different examples. I include like 5 there. So you can kind of play with what works best, start sending those, get feedback. Feel free to share with each other. Like I love how Ian was sharing how he posts on LinkedIn to get some leads and some of his approaches. Like, don't be afraid to help each other out because, like we've told you guys before, there's millions of creators out there. There's enough for us to go around for, like enough to go around for everybody. So let's be open in sharing that. And yeah, Shannon just said in the chat, Josh is the cold messaging king. Yeah, one of the first offers I ever did was cold messaging kings, also the sales kings. You guys can look that up on Google. People are reselling it right now from other countries still. And so I have a ton of experience doing cold email back in the day. I don't do it anymore just because I built up the brand now. But if you guys
exactly, at some point you don't need to do it anymore. You know?
Yeah, dude, they start coming to you, and then you start referring it. So you'll get to that point. But
right,
again,
especially after us doing this, like now you'll have me as an endorser of you, giving you a testimony and this example. And so Josh just did his first publishing deal at the level of which we're talking about with me, and that's going to lead to me sending referrals to him and being a testimonial for him and a case study for him to use if he decides to ever reach out to somebody or share with the referral. And it's just like snowball. So Josh just hit the snowball or the avalanche, and you guys are literally going to do the same thing. Remember, I said it takes one deal, not even like a Grand Slam Pace Morby deal where it goes on to make hundreds of millions of dollars. Just one deal that does well. It works out. Both parties are happy. That's my definition of it worked out. It doesn't even mean a dollar amount specifics. It's just, are both people happy?
Yep.
Yes.
That's good.
That's it. You did it. Like if the person says, bro, you just made me 50 G's, you just made me 100 G's, you just made me $250,000. Let's go. I'm stoked. You go, great. Do you have any friends that want those similar results? Yes. Done. You immediately get the introduction. And that's what I do, by the way. If it's phase 1 and the person's like, bro, you're a freaking wizard, you're doing it, I'm going to be like, yo, make the introduction now. Like, get the person to refer you somebody while they're hot and excited. Because maybe phase 1, they're like, dude, you're a wizard. How are you doing this? How are you converting my following to emails? I've been doing content for 7 years and I never did this. Duh. And now you came out here like a white knight and you just started converting my following to emails and now you're making money from that. Like, even if it's a couple $100 a week, let's go. I can already see where this will be in 2 years. And then that's when I would be like, okay, I don't know if phase 2 or phase 3 is going to be like millions of dollars, which is where he thinks it's going or she thinks it's going. So let me get that intro now. You know what I'm saying? Like, the person takes a bite of the food and they go, this is the best food ever. By the end, it has a diminishing return, right? Like, let's be honest. If you ate a bowl of pasta, by the end, it doesn't taste as good as it did in the beginning because you're full. And you're probably like, if you want more pasta, you're like, no. All you can eat sushi. Do you want more at the end? No, you're like, I'm busting at the gut. And so it has a diminishing return. So just know that some things have a diminishing return. Stocks go up, they come down. You want to get people while they're in the euphoria to make the referral. So the referral might happen in the very first phase 1. You don't have to wait until like, when did Mark say I should get the referral after I made them $1 million? No, there's no dollar amount or time frame. It's the person's individual experience. If they're hyped on the fact that the lead magnet converted at 25%, that's when you ask for the introduction. Yo, I'm blown away. This is crazy. Great. Would you mind making an introduction? And if they go, it's a little early, I'd say, okay, it's a little early. Fine. No problem. I just immediately back off. But I'd ask early. You know what I mean? So just jumping on that.
Smart.
Lori has a good thing, and then we'll continue going. And then Josh, I'll throw you the cold outreach scripts. Since
we probably won't go over that. I might just let everyone just look at their own because it's really set and straightforward. But yeah, let's have what Lori asked.
Okay, it's literally just like copy and paste scripts.
Yeah, literally, I don't know, not much else to say except to take action. Just do it.
Yeah, copy and paste.
Is that everyone good? All right, sweet. Let's move on.
Sweet. All right, Lori has a good question. She says, to decide on the amount up front that you would quote the person, for example, Mark said $250,000 is what it would be, and then 20% of the back. So she says, are you looking at the projected revenue and using a certain percentage of that for the upfront? No. For me, it's usually like, if I know for me that like with Mike Balmaceda's 45 employees, I have a rough idea that it'll take us about 90 days to build it out. And then it's a combination of the costs will probably be somewhere between 50 and 100 grand for Mike to pay his 45 employees, depending on how intricate. This is like legit full build out. Plus my video production guy might charge me somewhere between $12,000 and $30,000. I'm talking like, this is A-list celebrity. You're coming out. I got the celebrity. I'm either flying my whole crew to them to film them in a studio or at their house, depending on what the celebrity wants to do. And it could be 12 to 30 grand just for the video production, maybe another 5 grand in travel fees for the video crew. Then Mike and I will fly out there, maybe 1 or 2 other team members. So you're looking at like 10 G's in flights and hotels. 13 or whatever to 30 grand roughly in video costs, 50 to 100 grand in other costs for like the legal fees, the entity structure fees. So like, I'm saying this so you guys know how I come up with this number. So if somebody says, well, where are you coming up with this 250,000? I can map this shit out. I got receipts. You know what I mean? Like I have receipts. So I'm looking at like a real allocation of cash that goes out of my bank, which is where the receipt comes from, or credit card for all these expenses. You're looking at somewhere between like $100,000 to $200,000 in expenses. And then the little extra of how did you get from 100 to 200 to 250? That's like opportunity cost. I just gave up a month or two, which is like my opportunity cost is way more than that. You know what I mean? Like I don't need to keep reiterating where I'm at in life now, but like that ain't nothing to me. Like the opportunity cost of 3 months is millions of dollars for me. It's not 75 grand or 80 grand that I put in there. So I'm at a different stage than you guys, which is why you don't need to say $250,000. But like, I know it cost me about 100,000 on the cheap end, up to $200,000 on the high end, and all the stuff from video production, travel, because the celebrity always wants you to come to them. And luckily I live in Orange County and a lot of celebrities live in Los Angeles. So I don't have to go, but the film crew still have to travel out here. Mike lives in Florida. He has to fly out here. So there's still always some expenses. And then Mike paying maybe 20 of his team members, because we don't need all 45, maybe 20 of them to do the funnel design, the brand design, the logo design, the due diligence, the research, the copywriting, the funnels, the emails, the software integration, the tracking, putting all of our passwords and stuff into like one password. So it's all vaulted in there, paying the lawyers, doing the legal call, doing the negotiations, doing the contracts, setting up the bank account, getting the merchant processing set up, putting my name on the account, verifying how much you guys are going to do in the first 30 to 90 days to 12 months. Oh, millions of dollars. What? Millions of dollars? How? It's like, and then I go through the process, right? It's like, that costs a lot of money. And then the time is like, I'm not billing my hourly rate, or I'd charge $1 million up front. You know what I mean? So I'm not even charging my hourly rate. Mike's not charging his hourly rate. We're literally going by like actual cost, $100,000 to $200,000. And then just saying like the delta is literally like opportunity cost. Like if you screw me and I just put all this time in, I'm out. Like, even if I put in there, which we have a reverse clause, a termination clause of like, hey, David's backing out. Sorry, I keep picking on you, David. You're one of the few people I can see on camera though. If David backs out all of a sudden and I'm like, dude, I'm 130,000. This happened to us before and we got screwed. And this is where we came up with a termination clause, or a back out clause. So like before we've even launched, we haven't even launched. I went to David's house. I spent all the money. We did all the legals, signed the contract. I'm $130,000 in the red. David backs out. I got something else. I got a movie coming up. The fuck you do, David? Like, I don't care about your movie. I just paid $130,000 in the last month to get this deal going, and you're gonna terminate because you just got invited onto a new movie that your manager pitched? No. And so we didn't have a termination clause where David would owe us money if he backed out, in which case David's now committed. Just like a movie, you can't just back out of a movie. You know what I mean? If you're halfway through filming a movie, the celebrity can't just back out unless they die. They're going to have to take all the money they got paid, their upfront fee. They're going to have to pay a termination clawback fee, like all this stuff. They ain't doing it. They're going to finish the movie. And so now after getting hit in the face with a huge 6-figure bill, I went to my lawyer and I was like, yo, how do we not have a termination clause in here, you idiot? And I like ripped my lawyer. I was like, how did you let us do these deals without a clawback termination? And he reminded me that we were trying to make the contract frictionless. And by adding that in there, it has friction. They don't want to have to pay you 100 grand if they terminate. They want to be able to just walk away scot-free. And then I was like, well, I take back what I said. You put a frickin' termination clause in here because I will never come out of pocket 6 figures ever again like that. And he was like, okay. And I was like, I want it to be I want it to have lots of friction. I want lots of friction, not frictionless. And he was like, okay, we'll beef it up. We'll make it harder. And so just so you guys know, now I have that in there. And at some point you'll want to do the same thing. So hopefully, Lori, my rant gives you an idea of how I come up with it. It's a real number of about $100 to $200,000, and I can show receipts for it to show how that number comes there. Like I'm able to rifle off enough stuff that you're like, yeah, he's probably being legit, and it would probably cost about that much, and it'd take about 3 months to get it all built from start to finish. That's a lot of money for 40 employees and a bunch of lawyers and bank accounts, and and they can get on a call. I can have 40 people on a Zoom call to blow them away, and they go, shit, this guy was serious. So that's what we do sometimes too, is I call the agency who has all these employees and I say, let's get every single employee on the first call. And then the talent comes on the call and they literally see a Zoom meeting filled with 40 people. And I go, there's the CTO, there's the engineer, there's the copywriting team, there's the customer support team, there's one of the attorneys from general legal counsel, there's this, there's that, there's that, there's that. And they're literally like, whoa, this is the team we're working with. You don't have to do that if you're doing small level people, but like you want to blow people out of the water, your agency partner that has all these employees, get them all on a call. And then they're going to be like, oh my God, now I see where that number of $250,000 came from. Ta-da. What do you think the payroll is for all these people for 90 days? A lot. I'm taking them off of other projects and putting them on your project. It's a lot. So the number is reflective upon that. And because I'm at a certain stage now, you guys might want to say, depending on who your agency partner is, because that's real. Like if you have an agency partner with 20 employees, what does the 20 employees cost for 90 days? I bet the agency knows. I bet they know their payroll numbers. And so there's a simple way for you to kind of reverse engineer that. I'm just scrolling through more now, seeing what you guys are saying in the chat here.
Yeah, definitely some. And again, not always, like for some of you guys, the goal here is that you go into this and you're not having to put up, any money up front, or you're having the agency come in and do it. And so again, we're not saying, oh, you have to go put on 100K and like out of your own pockets, but this is just how you can justify that price point, like Mark is talking about.
Andrew said, who fronts the amount of the 100K to 200K? It's usually a combination where Mike's covering his team cost. And then sometimes what we'll do is Mike will reimburse himself from the money that comes in on our 50% cut. So for example, Mike allocates, I'm doing simple numbers now, not realistic numbers, just for math. Mike comes out of pocket 50 grand. We do $250,000. And maybe say I came out of pocket 25 grand for paying the lawyers, paying the video team, et cetera, which is not on Mike's team. So I come out of 20 out of pocket 25K for the lawyers and the video team. And Mike comes out of pocket 50 grand for all the other stuff for his team. We're both out of pocket 75 grand total, him 50, me 25. We then do the launch. We do $250,000 in profit, not revenue, profit. The celebrity talent takes home 125. Mike and I take home 125. Mike and I will sometimes reimburse that amount first. Mike gets 50 grand. I get 25 grand. That leaves us with the remaining balance. Mike and I then split the remaining balance 50-50. So however much we both get into the red, we'll then reimburse ourselves that amount first. Then moving forward, we go 50-50. And that's where the numbers can change too. If I gave the agency a larger percentage, if Mike got 35% of the 50 and I got 15% of the 50, then Mike and I would not reimburse each other, then do the splits. But again, what did I say in the very beginning of the call? Every deal is different. Every client is different. Every partnership is different. Every deal is different. And so because every deal is different, these numbers are not reflective of something that you can just copy and paste and repeat every time. I like to try to do that, which is why you keep hearing me say 50-50, 50-50, 50-50, because I love that number. It's just, it's without getting into details at a base level, it's fair. We both get the same amount. That's the definition of fair. But then we could peel the layers back. But who's doing more work? Who's putting up more money? Who's taking on more risk? And that's where 50-50 maybe isn't fair once you add layers of context of each unique specific deal. And that's why I said every deal could be different. I start at 50-50.
Yeah. And then one thing too is if you guys have a dynamic deal, submit a ticket. Like I did with Craig, like we were working, I was very dynamic. So I was helping him kind of figure out what it could look like. And then also too, Mark, you and Way on like, yo, Mark, what do you think on this too? And we'll help navigate that with you too. So that's why we have the Discord set up, is we're going to give you the structure, like the process, but if there's a dynamic situation, lean on us and we'll help you figure that out too. Make sure that it's smooth.
And then Amy says, wonder how much money we have to outlay before anything's created. You guys don't have to do anything because you guys are going to go small. You're going to be working with smaller people. And I'm jealous, by the way, because that's actually a better situation to be in. You'll never have to come out of pocket 6 figures. You'll never have to pay somebody up front. Like one of our celebrities, we paid $275,000 up front. I could have just bought a freaking Lambo or Ferrari or Bentley. But I paid that upfront to somebody, $275,000. And it was the worst experience ever. I'll never pay somebody money upfront like that ever again. Because they felt like mentally they already got paid. I already got paid. So even if this deal 50-50 after that, we recouped the first 275, then they get their 50. Like the deal was really well thought out, but the person just felt like, hey, I already got paid 275 for one day. We paid him $275,000 for one day. They were late, they left early. Then they said, I'll make it up to you. And I was like, do you realize we had to schedule this whole thing out and fly out here? You just flew in on your private jet for like a couple hours, like you jerk. And so, yeah, I'll never be doing that again. So you will never have to upfront money like that, Amy, or anybody on here. Because the way I'm teaching you guys is to go after smaller creators that are faster to say yes, don't have lawyers, don't have agents, don't have managers, don't have a team. They're just somebody who's happened to create a YouTube channel or a Facebook or an Instagram or a TikTok or a LinkedIn with 100,000 or 5 million followers. And you're going to hit them up and say, yo, let's do a small dating phase where I help you convert your followers into emails. And then I manage those emails and convert them by selling your existing products or affiliate offers that you're selling to monetize. Then together, phase 2 is we then create a digital product which has no fulfillment cost, no cost of goods, no cost of manufacturing or shipping. It's instantaneous. It's global. Anyone can get access to it. And once we film it, it can sell forever, automated through the funnel and the emails and your content machine that you've created. Great. I'll manage it. We'll make money together. A very small capital allocation. And the whole thing could be fulfilled and recorded over Zoom. The difference is I'm going after big A-list celebrities that have global brands, that are world renowned, that are already very successful. And they don't do small things. They don't go on little dates. They go all in and they get a massive fat check for a movie, for a book deal, for a thing, and they get paid up front or they get paid a percentage of the back and they go all in. They're committed to it for their brand, etc. You guys aren't doing that. You're going after small creators like me. You're going after somebody like me, like Josh did. Josh and I already have a relationship, but that's the concept. Josh and I did something together. Boom, successful. It's like you're going to go for those. You're going to go for lots of little at bats. Boom, boom, boom. You're going to go out. You're going to make 50 grand. You're going to make 100 grand. You're going to make 200 grand. You're going to make 500 grand. You're going to make $1 million. You're not trying to have $1 million days right out the gate with celebrities, right, guys? Like, that's what I'm doing. And that's what you guys can work towards if you want. But again, it's just there's levels. You're starting at a different level, and I'm jealous because that level is a lot easier. Does that make sense? Like being a police officer at the mall cop is a lot easier than being a Navy SEAL. It's a lot easier to just be the police officer at the airport who sits there and waves at people. Than to have to be a Navy SEAL. And so there's levels to everything. Both of them have guns. Both of them are in similar industries where they could get shot at, but they're completely different in nature. And so you guys are doing the basic nature of this model, and it's super easy. Like I'm jealous because you guys don't have to do all this negotiation. You don't have to talk about putting up money either upfront or in operating costs to like build out the whole thing. Like what I'm doing is I'm building out phase 1, 2, 3, and 4 in the first 90 days before they've done anything, so that when we launch, the entire business model is in place to have the maximum amount of profitability and revenue generated in the shortest amount of time and energy, so that right out the gate, it does $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, $4 million, $5 million right out the gate. That's the difference. That's the big, huge, massive difference between us. Is you guys might be trying to just make 10K a month, 20K a month, 50K a month, and slowly build up to what could be as this person maybe goes on to become a really big creator. You just don't know, right? Like go back to Mr. Beast 5-10 years ago. He wasn't that big. He wasn't that big. I think he first posted his first video 10 years ago. And now he's the biggest guy in the world. Imagine if you published him early, just like somebody published my friend Jake Ducey, who has 1 million followers on one channel and then 200,000 on another channel. And one of them's a podcast and one of them's just him talking to the camera. And he crushes it. Somebody published him early on before his channel really blew up and got 30% of everything. And they made millions of dollars over a couple years. So they really did exactly what I want you guys to do. I want you guys to become the person who published my friend Jake Ducey and got 30% of everything he does, which is millions of dollars a year in annual revenue, and you're getting 30% of it. Pretty cool. He just gets to focus on content. You focus on converting his audience of 1 million people into email subscribers. And over a handful of years of doing it, they got 1 million, 1 million, 1 million, 2 email subscribers, and they generate millions and millions and millions of dollars monetizing that email list. It's beautiful. I'm just scrolling through the chat again to keep up with you guys here. Can we have a list of all the people? Yep. Yeah, deal making is dynamic, Shannon, for sure. Juan Pablo says, how do we enforce it? Like the back out clause and stuff. We already gave you guys the contracts. So keep scrolling through. Just curious, do you pay an accountant to set up the business for you when you make a deal, or do you do it yourself, or do you both pay an accountant? So if you guys wanted to go about doing it this way, you would create an entity. You'd create a new LLC. You can use something like LegalZoom, or you can use Prime Corporate Services, or you can use a lawyer, and it'll probably cost you maybe somewhere between $500 and $2,000 to create an entity. And this is where you and the person can split the cost if you want. You could be like, hey, if we're going to open, and this is like after you've made some money too, by the way. So like, I like to make a little money first in your guys' scenario. See, I keep going back and forth between like, well, what I would do is I'd have already negotiated with you, created the entity, done the bank account, and that's where I would have upfront and put up all this money. But what you could do is you could just be like, hey, let's just start small. I want to be proved to that your audience is actually going to take action, that your audience will subscribe, that your audience will buy over email. And once I've proven that, then I'm willing to go and create the bank account, send the contract, and go to phase 2. So it's almost kind of like a, we're both trying to prove to each other here, because we're both not like big, massive people that already come to the table like, oh, I don't need to prove anything. I already have a huge ego and a huge following, and I'm a celebrity. And it's like, well, I don't have to prove anything either. I'm already super successful too, and we could both walk away and be fine. So you're like, hey, you're doing well. I'm doing well. Let's see if we can both work something out here. You prove to me your audience does well before I go all in, full tilt, put up money, etc. And I'm going to do the same. I'm going to prove to you that what I say I can do, I do. And you kind of go through those slow phases there. Then you could, once you've been like, hey, I think this is going to work well, I think Amy's going to crush this based on phase 1, let's go to phase 2. And this is where like real money is going to start coming in. At first, in phase 1, if you're just selling their affiliate product or something that they have, they're going to be collecting the cash. And you may or may not even be participating in any of that, just to prove to them that you can do it. Then as you go to phase 2, that's when you could be like, hey, now we're going to launch your product, which means we're going to need to have some transparent accounting. I'll manage it, and we'll create a new entity together, and we'll have equity in that. And that's if you wanted to go that route. But again, every deal could be different. They could be like, I don't want to create a new entity. I want to funnel all the money through my account. And that's when you could be like, okay, how can we put some trust barriers in place? Does that make sense? Like, how can we put some trust barriers in place where I know that I can trust that the money's going to come back to me? And that's where you guys could have conversations where if they're going to have the money coming through, there needs to be some transparent accounting methods in place, or they could hire a accounting firm. We use Fully Accountable. So this is one of the resources I'm sharing with you guys. Fullyaccountable.com. Fullyaccountable.com. We use Fully Accountable. They do outsourced bookkeeping. But again, now you're looking at like a couple $1,000s a month on the cheap end for them to come in and do the accounting and the bookkeeping. And so you're probably like, well, I don't want to pay $2,000 to $12,000 a month. Of course you don't. I don't either. But when you're ready for it, they're the ones who are managing the bank account. And sometimes what I'll do too is I'll use something called Mercury Banking. Mercury. I'll use Mercury Banking, and then we can both sign up online for a bank account that we share and we both have control over. And then if we want, we can even revoke our ability to do anything. We can't send wires. We can't do anything. We can actually both sign up together and say, this is our bank account. We can then give the right to Fully Accountable to be the sole person to send out distributions and manage all the bookkeeping and accounting and payouts and everything. And then you and I can look at the bank account, but we can't actually do anything, because we can revoke our access and give Fully Accountable access. And then if we both mutually tell Fully Accountable to give us back access together, both of us, I can't go behind David's back or Josh's back and be like, hey, give me access because I'm going to liquidate the account. Both of us have to get on a call with Fully Accountable and say, we both agree that we'd like access back to our bank account because we're selling it, or because we don't need you guys anymore, or because we're terminating our partnership, whatever. And that's how you can do it. If you wanted to do it, that's what I call creating a trustless relationship. I actually don't even need to trust you, because I've revoked our ability to need to trust each other. We can both see the transparent ledger, bank account, balance sheet, P&L, and Fully Accountable is in charge of managing the money. And so that's what I call creating a trustless, which is why I love Bitcoin. I won't get into that. Josh will kill me. But that's why I love Bitcoin, because I don't need to trust a third party or a bank or a government or anybody. Nobody can stop me, et cetera, from using it, from holding it. And that's where you can do that in these relationships too, right? Like, so hopefully that answered your question, Sergian.
Yeah, no Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Not a Bitcoin.
But yeah, so that's that's a really helpful thing though for some people, right? Is like you start making real money, all of a sudden you're like, and trust me, it happens on both sides. If you're the one in charge of the money and all of a sudden you actually do $1 million in a day, trust me, that person's hitting you up saying, Did we just do $1 million in a day? Because that's what I'm seeing, but you're the only one who has control over the $1 million. I want to make sure you don't just disappear in the Cayman Islands or go to Hawaii, um, and take that $1 million in a day and just run away with it. And so trust me, on both sides, it's a really important thing that eventually you guys will get to and have to worry about is like, we're talking about a lot of money here.
Yeah.
And so
And
I
you
have
can,
experienced all of it.
yeah, and one thing too is like when it comes to like the legal stuff, like I would kind of like stepping stone my way into that. It's like
Yeah.
I would kind of be like risky. I remember my first publishing deals, like I didn't have a contract for like my first like 5 publishing deals. And I mean, I never got screwed over because I just was good at picking partners using like the checklist I'd given you guys and just weighing things out, or maybe it was by the grace of God or whatever. But I never got any problems there. But then I was like, okay, as we're going to bigger people, then I was like, time to get a contract in place. And then it's like,
Yeah.
okay, we're getting big launches and time. Okay, and I'm learning from Mark, and then Mark's like, okay, here's the next stage of things. Like for the thing we're doing now, it's okay, we're gonna create a whole new entity, and then we're gonna have
Yeah.
ownership in it. And so like there's levels, so you kind of step your way into it. So
Yep.
obviously at the start, it's overwhelming. You're like, oh my gosh, I don't have money to pay fully accountable or this or that. It's like, all right, go do a launch of the creator, use that cash to be able to roll it
Yep.
over into your next bigger deals that need more protection. Whereas like your
Right.
smaller deals don't even need that much because the chance of a smaller creator or mid-sized creator screwing you over, and like someone like that who's a reputation at stake,
Yeah.
it's I don't know. I don't want to say it's never gonna happen because I
And
don't want
here's the thing,
to come
you
back and
you,
be like,
you
oh,
the way that you got to make sure you can rug pull them back is you have access to all the funnels. So if they
yeah,
don't pay you, you can immediately go and just shut all the
delete.
funnels down. Delete. And so
Thanks
now
for the contact list. Thanks for all the
right.
leads.
Yeah,
Goodbye.
you have their email, so you could export their CSV file and be like, I now own your email list. I have access to your email list. I just actually kicked you out of your own email list. I actually just, all the funnels that are bringing in all the money, I just got. By the way, I'm now also going to send out a mass email blast to every customer to do a chargeback and shut down your merchant and your bank account. And so this is where it's like, I know all the ways to rug pull somebody. And so it's like, I'll just tell every single customer to charge back and say, hey, I just found out this person's a scammer. Every single one of you should do a chargeback right now. You'll get your money back in full. You'll also be able to keep the program that you paid for. And then you'll just see like ding, 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 the account will get shut down instantly because once you go above a 1% chargeback ratio, they shut down your account. And so, yeah, there you go. And all their money gets all their money gets held in the bank. So any money that they have immediately gets held in their bank account, so they can't pay their bill, their mortgage, etc. Because they're like, whoa, you just had like every single customer do a chargeback, so all your money is now considered possibly fraudulent. So they're gonna lock it up and not let you touch your money. And so it's like, yo, you want to play this game? I can play. And so that's where you want to make sure that you have like a backdoor ability to rug pull them. So it's like, you don't pay me, it's going to hurt you too. And that's where it's like, why don't we both remove the ability for us to get into a stick fight here and just like put fully accountable in place. And so, of course, when you're making small money, a couple $100,000, whatever, it's fine. But you're making millions and millions and even eventually millions of dollars a day, a week, a month. Trust me, you're talking big money. You're talking money that's worth screwing somebody over for, because you could literally be like, we just made $6 million this month. I'm going to the Cayman Islands and disappearing forever. That's enough money for me to live forever off of. And so when you get to that type of money where the incentive outweighs the law, like the incentive of robbing a bank for some people who are poor makes sense. And so if the incentive outweighs the law and the ability of like the punishment, that's when you would get scared. It's not worth screwing somebody over for 20 grand. But you talk about 20 million. Yeah, you see people go to prison all the time because they screw people over for just ridiculous amounts of money. And so that's where, yeah, step your way up there. You're not dealing with big money, so you don't have to worry about big boy things, big girl things like lawyers and bank accounts and accountants and removing your own access to your own bank account so you can't be stupid one night. You know what I mean? So Josh and I were just talking about this. Remember, I said, oh, I actually just had an experience, and remember we were talking about that. It happens all the time. Trust me. And so, yeah, somebody said, if we want to work with an agency like I do with Mike, but not do all the work ourselves, how much money might an agency require from us up front to work on a project? Great question. Ideally, like Mike, I convinced Mike to do everything pro bono and just take it on the performance. And the cool thing was I found Mike already operated that way. He used to operate where he would charge money up front to build the funnel, and then he wouldn't manage the funnel. And then if you wanted him to stay on and manage the funnel, he'd pay you a management monthly fee. Plus, he started to take a little percentage. So you'd pay him up front to build it. And then if you wanted him to stay on and manage it, he'd then take a percentage. And then he changed his model to, I'm not going to charge any money up front. I'm going to take a larger percentage. Because imagine if Mike was charging 100 grand up front to build the funnel and then 10% of the back. And then the back end ended up being $1 million a month, $2 million a month, $3 million a month. Mike's like, dude, I could have gotten 20%, 30% of the back. And that would have been astronomically worth more than 100 grand up front and 10% of the back. So then Mike eventually was like, Now that I have a big stick, I can then boom demand, I'm going to do a deal with somebody that's going to be really profitable because my last deal was really profitable. And so all of a sudden, Mike was like, I'm not going to charge 100 grand up front and 10% of the back. These are made up numbers, but it gives you an example. Now I'm going to charge no money up front, but I'm going to take 30, 40, 50% of the back, and I'm going to do everything. I'm going to front all the money. That becomes so attractive for a big person like a Patrick Bet-David or an Ed Milet or whoever you want to go after to be like, I'm going to do that because Mike comes with 45 employees and he does everything and he's the best. Yes. So I found a guy who already had gotten to the stage of his career, which is the career that most people eventually realize is the path to the most money, which is I will not charge you small money up front. I will charge you nothing up front because if I believe in you, I'm taking the same risk you are because I'm putting up the time, the energy, and the money to launch this thing. And so, Amy and everybody listening, ideally you go out and find an agency who already has the mindset that I'm looking to operate on a performance basis because that's where I make the most money. And then you're going to go out and not just find them their typical client, a dentist, a surgeon, a lawyer, a small business, a high ticket offer. You're going to go and say, I'm going to go find big agents with big volume, big traffic. Because a lot of the times funnel builders and agencies, they also don't do media buying. Most people who do media buying, that's all they do. They just do media buying. And then other people just do funnel building, copywriting, brand design, etc. And that's a lot, right? Like that's why you separate those two things out. Media buying, especially if you do more than just Facebook and you do Facebook, you do Instagram, you do LinkedIn, you do TikTok, you do Google, you do YouTube, you do pay-per-click, etc. That's a full business in itself. So some people just do media buying and some people, and you don't need those yet because that's like phase 3, phase 4 when you get into paid media. The beginning is affiliate is a organic and affiliates, and it's really easy to get affiliates for a thought leader or a celebrity or an influencer. In organic, they already have the audience and the following. So a funnel builder, a brand designer, a copywriter, the person who's going to put it all together and build it all and write it all and do all the research to effectively make this attractive funnel and page. They should be fine doing it up front at no cost because their biggest concern is where's the traffic? Well, it's a celebrity, it's a thought leader, it's an influencer. They already have a bunch of traffic. And then we're going to get affiliates and then we're going to go to paid. And they'll be like, I'm willing to not charge you 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 grand up front because I think we'll make a lot more. And then if you have to, again, every deal is different. You can say the first $40,000 goes to you, David. The first 100 grand goes to you, Amy. That's like, if you have to, you structure deals that way where I actually make nothing until the funnel builder got paid 50 grand or 100 grand. Then our 50-50 split or whatever our split with my agency partner is goes into effect. So do you see how there's always a way to make a deal happen? Let me see. Are you making the LLC in the location of the influencer? No. Usually, yeah, Josh said Mark will probably say Wyoming. Usually my lawyers recommend Wyoming. I'm not giving you guys, business entity structuring advice or legal advice. Consult your own attorneys on that. But my lawyers who are very smart at this stuff usually do Wyoming or Nevada because Wyoming has this law that's like, protects your company in the event of a lawsuit and in the event that somebody's trying to do some like basic auditing of like who owns this entity. Oh, it's owned by this celebrity influencer and Mark. And like California just like opens up the curtain if somebody's like, what's that California LLC? Who's in charge? Who owns it? What's the operating agreement? You can just like get access to it super easy. So I think in Wyoming they have this law that's like something about the veil of privacy, and it's very hard to like audit a Wyoming based entity. And so even though I live in California, I have like 13 LLCs that are in Wyoming and some of them are in Nevada. So yeah, there you go. But again, not advice, just what I do. Craig says, do you have any agents for LLC setup that we can work with? I live in Canada. I need someone to help with this. Yeah, so I do. And you can also, I can connect you directly with, you guys can all, Josh and I could put this together for you guys. Josh, make a note of this. Prime Corporate Services, I'll connect you guys directly with either the founder or one of his team members. They do an amazing job and have done this for tons of my clients. Even for us, they've created some of my entities for me. They can get you guys all structured and get your entities created and whatnot for, whatever there's like state fees and then there's like their fees. So like they'll charge you a little bit, but like the state fees are just like mandatory. You're like, where's this $800 coming from? It's like, well, that's what California, that's the law. You can't not pay it. If you want to get your, state filing docs with your FEIN number on there, like a social security number, but for your business, You're gonna have to pay the fees. So I can get you guys connected with them. Fully accountable can be around $2,000 a month for their cheapest plan. And then it goes up from there depending on how many services. Do you need a chief financial officer? Do you need a full-time person? Do you need a part-time person? Do you just need bookkeeping? Do you need accounting? What type of accounting? Complex accounting? Or do you need payments and distributions made? How frequently? How many numbers and line items do you have coming in? And then they'll integrate you with QuickBooks and other stuff. So yeah, there are expenses that get added up. But again, you don't have to do that until later once you guys are actually making money. I'm looking through the chat still for you guys. You need me for a Lord mindset offer? Happy to chat about it. Hit me up. Fire Festival. More equity / ownership mindset. That's the type of agencies we want to look for. Yeah, exactly. Equity ownership mindset for agencies for sure. Like if the agency's already doing performance-based work, that's a really attractive person because they already do it. And then the value that you're bringing to them is you're basically saying, hey, I'm going to go out and be the broker and bring you a bunch of deals, but we're going to like do more than just build their funnel once and manage it. Like I'm going to go out and I'm going to do the traffic and I'm going to do, because most of those agencies are like, look, I want to make sure that you have the traffic. I want to make sure that you have this. So you're actually going to be like the dream link in their chain for them. You're going to be like, I'm going to go find you a bunch of deals that we're going to crush. And you want to paint this vision for them, right? You're going to have this vision like, we're going to go out, we're going to crush this. You can be my guy or my gal who has the agency. I go out and I get all the deals. I structure it. I follow this model. We rinse and repeat. I bring us another one. I bring us another one. I bring us another one. So like Mike loves it because like even though we had many deals that failed, we had deals that were life changing, and he got to meet a lot of really one of Mike's like favorite people because he was a boxer was Floyd Mayweather and Mike Tyson, and we published both of them. And so for Mike, it was like an incredible opportunity because he's like a boxer, so he absolutely loved to meet both of those guys. He was reminded why you should never meet your heroes because those guys aren't special in any way. He was reminded by that saying, don't ever meet your heroes. But nonetheless, it was still a really cool experience. He got like signed gloves from both of them and photos with them. And so just like a cool thing for him to check off the list. And then also like the idea that like we're building an entity that we can sell together. So like you're an agency and you get a percentage of all the business's revenue or profit, but you're not actually building any equity. And that's the big difference is if you're not building equity in these deals, you try to convince this agency that we're going to partner on all these different deals and each one of these deals will have equity in. And we can sell those off. We can sell those companies off, or sell our equity or get our equity bought out. If the person's like, hey, I don't want to do the deal anymore, but I still want to take over the business, then can I buy you out? Can we sell the company? Like, how's this going to work? And so that's where, you have all those other cool things that most people are starting thinking about. Because I sold one of my companies last year. I'm actually in the process of potentially selling another one of my companies in 2025. So that'll be like back to back, sell my company in 2023, sell my other company in 2025, like back to back. For me, it's all about building something to sell it. That's literally the goal. Because somebody will usually pay you somewhere between 3 and 10 times your profit, which means 3 to 10 years of profit paid to you in one day. So it's like, okay, I built my business for 2 years, 3 years, get the revenue up to a point where the profit's justifiable out of the multiple of 3 to 10x EBITDA. And then I can sell the company for that. So it's like I take 2 or 3 years to build a company and then I sell it for 5 years of future cash flow in a day. Are you kidding me? Like I milked it for the 3 years I built it. And then somebody's willing to pay me the growth trajectory times a multiple of maybe 5 times the profit, which means 5 years of my last year's profit, I'll get paid in a day. It's like, okay. And then I'll take that money and I'll put it on Bitcoin and Bitcoin will go up 10x. And then ta-da, I just got 50 years of cash in a very short period of time. That's called leverage. That's how you build wealth. So what we're trying to do here is convince these agencies that they're playing a small game and we're going to help them play a bigger game. Make sense, guys? You're already bringing them ideas. You're already bringing them a vision that's bigger than what they're doing themselves. That's what you have to remember. A lot of what you're doing is bringing them a vision that's bigger than the vision that they have for their own business. I want to partner with people who come to me and have a bigger, brighter, more exciting vision of abundance and impact than I have for myself. Because then I go, shit, I'm willing to partner with this dude or this girl. She's got an exciting vision that compels me. I haven't been this excited about funnel building in years. You guys starting to see what I'm talking about here? Give them something to be excited about. I'm scrolling back through for you guys. Yeah, see, somebody said they've had experience with Prime and they're great. Somebody said we just registered a Wyoming LLC, feeling safe now. Again, it's just a small piece of the puzzle. It doesn't mean that your business is necessarily technically safe. If you're being non-compliant with FTC or SEC or whatever government acronym, regulation, and regulatory body is out there, you could still get in trouble. But yes, apparently, Wyoming is one of the best states of all the states in the 50 states to have an entity created for some of those elementary reasons I gave you. And a lawyer or ChatGPT or Claude can tell you more reasons why a lot of people have their, just like when you see a lot of yachts, a big giant $50 million, $10 million yacht will have a flag on the back. I forgot what the flag is usually from, but they're almost always from the same place. There's something to do with if you buy a boat in that jurisdiction, it's got some tax harboring laws. And so a lot of yachts have the same flag hanging off the back of them. And that's because there's a benefit. If you buy it there and then drive the boat back to America, it's technically from that jurisdiction and it gets this huge tax structure benefit. Just like if you buy a mansion in Florida, divorce, bankruptcy, nothing can take that house from you. So a lot of celebrities and billionaires go buy a 5 million, 10 million, 100 million, $50 million mansion as their honeypot because that money is protected. Bankruptcy, litigation, nothing can take that house from you. So a lot of people are incentivized to go buy a massive, giant, ridiculous $100 million mansion as a guarantee that they'll always have that for the rest of their life. No law can ever have it taken from you, ever. And so again, that's by, as you learn this stuff, there's certain things you can do. Like I learned from Tony Robbins, he hired Bill Gates' tax attorney, that if you buy farmland for farming purposes and you give up 51% ownership to the state that the farm is in, you'll get a 3 times multiple on tax write-off. So if I put $10 million in, I'll save $30 million on my taxes. So I get a 300% accelerated depreciation against the money I put into the farm, but I have to buy the farm and then give up the majority ownership, 51%, to the state. So the state of Arkansas owns my farm. Technically, I own 49%, but they own 51%. So I bought the farm, gave ownership to them, and then I get to write off 300% of what I put into it. So if I put 10 million in, I got $30 million off my taxes, which for a lot of people is a big number, especially if you look at why Bill Gates owns all the farmland in America. Ta-da, ta-da, ta-da. Imagine you're worth billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars. You go buy all the farmland and you get to save 300% on all the billions of dollars you just bought all the farmland from, but you just have to give 51% ownership back to the state. But you just save 300% on all your taxes, which means you technically will never, ever, ever, ever have to pay taxes. If you're getting 300%, which means for every million you make, you save 3 million. So literally at some point you never owe tax ever. You own all the farmland. And then don't get me started. The farmland can still produce cash flow, can still have write-offs, can still have expenses and maintenance costs that you can write off against future taxes as well. Mind blown. So this is all the crazy next level stuff we can get into as you guys start to build wealth. But let me see. Josh is back from his walk. Let me see here. I got, have you worked with international clients and how do you structure the ownership? That's a tough one. I haven't. We're actually one of the influencers that we're going to talk with about maybe partnering with for Q1, Josh and I, he is international right now. So that'll be something interesting. But what I would do is I would create the ownership in America and say, hey, I'll own the company. I'll own the bank account. We could do Mercury. We can both take away our access to it. So we can both see the bank account, but we can't touch the bank account. Fully accountable will touch it. And they'll be in charge of it. And so right there, that would be the solution. I live in America. I'll open the bank account here. I can give you ownership to it on the operating agreement, which is literally just ownership and an operating agreement of who owns what. Is just a piece of paper that says you own this and I own that. And then the law firm holds that. But that's it. Like ownership for a privately held company is on a piece of paper. Only publicly traded companies' ownership is public and held in stock on the NASDAQ or other platforms. And so, yeah, just so you guys know, privately held companies, ownership is just on a piece of paper, which I thought was nuts. I was like, wait a minute, it's not like sent to the state or sent to the government or sent somewhere. They're like, nope, it's just on a piece of paper on an operating agreement.
Yo,
crazy.
Let's go back. Let's reel it back and hit into some more of the getting to proposal and stuff like that too.
Cool.
Some people are like, we're going super high level. So happens I go walk the dog. Mark starts casting amazing vision, but we'll reel it back and then we can get to that point.
I was just stuck going through all these questions in the chat here too.
I know. I'll save a lot of these questions for the end too, guys. So if you ask them, if I don't feel like it relates, I'll just say I'm saving it, and then we'll try to hit on it at the end too. just for people on
Perfect.
the
I'm closing the
YouTube.
chat now, so I can't even see
Oh,
what
yeah,
people's
no more
questions are.
chat. Marcus.
Otherwise, I just go down the rabbit hole of the chat.
Yeah, so now in
Um,
this section, we'll get into talking, reaching out. Like once we're doing the proposal, obviously there's some examples of proposal down there, which we'll show you
yeah.
guys here. And this is more so in that proposal process when you're sending it over, what's included in the proposal, all that
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. So basically, when we're preparing a proposal to send to the person in advance of our call, so I know my call's on Wednesday, so it's Monday and I'm panicking. What am I going to do? Well, I don't have to panic. Deep breath. I already have a proposal template that covers everything for me. So, how much money the creator or celebrity will make based on projections. So, just like I said earlier, maybe I'm just making up numbers here for you guys. If the creator has 1 million followers, um, and I know that statistically, I'm going to get about 1%. That's on the low end. I'm going to get about 1% of their followers to become email subscribers in a short period of time, maybe 30 to 60 days. Then I'm going to get 10,000 email subscribers. And if of those 10,000 email subscribers, because they're all fresh, they just opted in, they're in there, they know that they opted in for something that's about to lead to an offer shortly later, maybe 7 days later, um, then maybe we'll get a 3% conversion of the total database, in which case we can get 300 sales. And if we get 300 sales at a $200 product, do the math. You just did 60 grand. And then maybe we have some upsells at a 15% take rate and downsells at a 25% take rate. And you just do the math. And then you can break it down right there and say, here's how we plan to make the money. Here's how much money we're basing on projections that you're going to make. It's called a pro forma. The commitment needed from the creator or celebrity. Usually I try to start small and say, let's first prove to you that we can hit these projection goals or get close to them and make this much money. And in the meantime, I just want 1 day or 2 days of your time. And what that's going to be is we're going to jump on Zoom. We're going to record some interview content. We're going to do some live streams, et cetera, et cetera. I need you to, maybe you're not going to actually pre-record anything. Maybe it's all going to be live streams, or maybe you're just going to make some simple posts. You want to ask the least amount of them as possible so that the friction for them saying yes is very high. Then you'll send the proposed deal structure percentage. Again, I usually recommend 50-50, but I also give them the option A is this much money up front with 20% of the back, or option B is we do everything 50-50. And we'll cover some expenses. You might have some on your side, but probably none. And then basic operating expenses like software. If we're gonna have to sign up for software, if you don't have ClickFunnels, I need it. Or Go High Level, I need it. If you don't have CRM because you don't collect emails, we need it. And so we'll cover those expenses together. And one of the ways to do that is maybe you, to make it easy, front the expense of the software, but then you recoup that as first dollar in. It's called first dollar back, first dollar in. And so if you put up $3,000 to buy a URL, because you probably need a URL unless they have a URL. Maybe they don't have a URL. Maybe you create a custom URL like offerpublishing.com, right? Like Josh bought a URL. Maybe you buy a URL, but it's probably $10. Most URLs are $10. Like I think the most expensive URL I bought was $5,000. So it's like, okay, I bought a $5,000 URL. Then I would tell the influencer, hey, are we really sure this is the URL? Like you absolutely want this URL because it's $5,000. And they're like, I do. And I say, great, I'm going to buy it. I'm also going to be the one who owns it until later when I've recouped my money back. Then we can talk about splitting it. But it's $5,000 I'm putting up the money for. I'm going to recoup the first $5,000 back. So the first 5 grand that comes in the door goes to me to cover off this. Unless you want to do it. Do you want to pay the 5 grand up front? Because I'm happy to have you do it too. Put it on your credit card. I don't care. I really don't. But you'll get the first $5,000 back and you'll own the URL, however you want to do it. And then eventually we can get into like, okay, we're actually building a real business. We're going to sell it. All these entities are mutually held by us. We're going to sell the company 50-50. Cool. Got it. In the beginning though, none of the stuff necessarily matters that much for you guys. So you have the proposed deal structure percentage. Again, I like 50-50 because it feels fair. They might try to negotiate. Maybe you do it. Maybe in the beginning you go, let's do 60-40. There was some celebrities that I was like, we never did it, but there was a couple that I was like, I'd be willing to do 70-30, even 80-20. Because I was like, I think they're going to be such a big grand slam person. Like Mr. Beast. That was one of our counters for him was he wanted $10 million in cash up front. I said, we tried to negotiate. They wanted 10, no question. So we said, maybe we'll put up 5 and Kajabi will put up 5. Point is, didn't happen. So then we tried to negotiate down and say, hey, we'll do 80-20. You take 80% of all the profit and we take 20%. So again, depending on who the people are, sometimes I'm open to negotiating down, even me. You got to think about opportunity costs, et cetera. How much do you owe to your agency partner? Are they comfortable with it? So again, every deal is unique. Next steps. We've got your guys' proposal templates here. Josh, if you wanted to open that up,
Yeah.
you can go through it if you want.
Yeah, for sure. Let me grab the doc here on my end.
Cool.
And I'll share my screen. And then yeah, some people are asking for like projection templates. I know you guys mentioned that in the last call, like having like a Google Sheet where you can kind of run these projections.
Yeah, yeah. I just said
What,
it right there.
yeah,
1% of the following into emails in about 30 days. That should be a general decent goal. It's not always going to happen. So 1% of following count into emails within the first 30 days or less. And then from there, you'll probably convert somewhere around 3% of the total emails into buyers within that initial first launch that might be 7 to 14 days.
yeah, that's good. And these are
That's that
averages you can
that
play with, and you'll tell this. You're not gonna get. We don't do guarantees. You'll see in like this. There's no guarantee this is it, but you're just kind of casting vision of like lowest, highest, just to give them an
yeah.
idea. But when you guys go through this, you definitely want to look at the examples. So we included proposal example, the one that Mark had sent to Mr. Beast, so you guys can check this out and go through what that looked like when he's in negotiation with them in the proposal template. And then there's also this one, which is just the generic one that they have. And so this is his kind of filled out. And so what we did is we took this generic one that is more so like it doesn't talk specifics of individual creator. That's something you can just add or just send over. But we templated this one out, which will be in this link here. And so I'll send it now because I know some of you guys probably just want to look at it now, but we'll send over the full doc with the examples and everything after this call, meaning like this entire doc we're going over. But that'll give you a good starting place on what to fill out and go through here. So you'll see we try to template out all the areas. Obviously, some of you guys may be in here and you're like, oh, I haven't generated any sales, then you may have to change that out. If you have, maybe you've done client work before, copy funnels, include that. Like when I was publishing, I'd mentioned how, the first funnel I built went on to do millions. But with that client, I sold that funnel for like 1,500. I didn't technically publish them, but I just explained, my work in other industries. So you can talk about that. If you don't have like results to show for, that's all good. Just talk about that you're a full service virtual business partner, blah, blah, blah. Just talk about that. It's all good. Obviously, results will be great, but a lot of you guys here, you don't even have proposals yet. And you're closing deals and signing them on if people are interested because it's performance. There's not much resistance. Don't get all held up like, oh, I don't have testimonials, I can't get deals. No, that's not true. I started out as a little 17-year-old kid doing this and getting big names, and they just wanted to see, oh, it's performance, great. So we have that there. This is the project envision and commitment. You'll go through there, kind of figure out like, hey, what are you going to do for them? So again, we kind of just outlined what Mark had here. You can add to it or remove it, but this will give you a good idea. And then we kind of walk them through here, like here's the process. Here's phase one, phase two, three, four. So we kind of help them understand it from the start to the end there. We get into this section here where we talk about some of our advantages, some of the tracking, what we'll be doing for them. If you have like your team and results, you can talk about this. Like for me, I have, Rez is my funnel designer, so I'll mention my funnel designer, what he's done, my copywriter, who he's worked with, everything like that. We have an agency. This is where you talk about your agency that you worked with, their results. Or if it's just you, you can just talk about just you and some of your expertise and what you'll be handling for them. And then obviously some timelines here in the example. Mark has some examples of like timelines. So you guys can just go off of this. Like this is a good rule of thumb. I try to like over project. So I would say like it may take longer, but then I also say like, hey, if everything goes smooth and if I'm not waiting on something from you, we could probably get this done faster, but I have to over project. And I usually blame the potential over projections on them. And then they're like, oh no, I'll review everything. Don't worry. And so that helps in the process too when we're like closing the deal. But again, this is just a proposal. When you go to do the contract and you finalize stuff, you can make things more detailed to that deal. Right now, this is just giving them the general information, before you get on a call with them so they understand an idea of what's going on. So that when you're talking to them, they're not hitting with you with all these questions. I don't, you can just kind of handle a bunch of them before the call starts. I talk about the compensation structure. You start 50-50. Obviously, deals may be dynamic. They'll say, I'm interested. Maybe I don't want to give up this much. Like I was talking to a guy who wants to publish this e-commerce brand today. He was sending me a text and he was like, yeah, I'm thinking about doing 50-50, but they're a little hesitant because they have two partners and then there's e-commerce, the profit margins are very low. And so I kind of had to work with them and like changing out what the percentage should be. So understand that it's dynamic. And you can always go back and change it out, but this is just the proposal. So you're just proposing something. This is not the contract. You can finalize everything in the contract stage a lot later. And then you could talk here about the path to return on an example. So this is where you talk about the projections. I'm like, hey, 1%, da 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 da, blah blah. All of that is kind of shown here. So you can kind of see like the examples of the baseline metrics that you can give them, project to them. We can try to, like I said, I'm down to build out and hire my Google Sheet guy to make some like fancy little projection calculator that you can show them, you can bring up on the call. So I'm down to put that together. Just don't have that right now since that's something you guys brought up to us in the last call. But I will work on that so we can get something more detailed. But this is enough here where you can kind of show them the math. And again, this is what Mark is sending to like these bigger people, and this is all they care to look at. And so even the smaller people, as long as you're showing them this will give them a general idea of what's going to be good and what's going to work well. So you guys have the link. I'll be sending you guys. Yeah, David said you don't need testimonials to get testimonials. Yeah. That's the nice thing about this model is its performance. But people keep asking like when does the proposal come into place? I already sent you guys the Figma file, so it should answer, but let me just answer it again just so that you guys can have it or see what we're talking about. So obviously you'll research the creator, you'll contact them. Now, what I like to do here is this stage is more so just to gauge their interest. Like I like what some people have been doing as well is they'll kind of gauge the interest, be like, hey, is this something you're interested in? I know like Joe had used my script as saying like, hey, I have like a potential winning offer idea we can launch to your audience. Is this something that you'd be interested in? And then they're like, yeah, this would be cool. And so once they show some interest of doing a performance deal and partnering, then I will send them the proposal. Because honestly, I don't want like the proposal is pretty templated. You don't technically have to like customize it to them and add a bunch of their information. You can kind of like you'll see in the Mr. Beast example, like Mark did. But you can also just have more of a generic proposal ready to go. But I still don't want to waste a lot of time on somebody who may not even be interested. Like I want to gauge the temperature of their interest. And so you'll see in the scripts that I give you, the first message is just gauging their interest. So I'll say, hey, are you even interested in partnering with me on performance deal? Yes or no? I have an idea. You go with that. If they say yes, then I will send them the proposal via email, DM, whatever. And then in that email, which I gave you, I'm going to give you guys a template for. It's already in the doc. In that one, I will then say, hey, if this looks good, here's a proposal. Let me know. Let's schedule a call and we can go over it in detail and answer any more of your questions. So it goes gauge the interest, send proposal, then follow up or get them to get on a call with you. And then on the call, we'll go over the proposal again, answer their questions, and then see if like, hey, they're ready to go. They're interested. Awesome. Let's go to phase 1 or phase 2, depending on where they're at. I personally have only ever gone to phase 2 and just gotten them on a contract right away. But again, if you guys are like, they don't trust you yet, there's some of the hesitation. That's why we have phase 1 option, which is a good way to build that trust beforehand. So that's the process just to go over it again. Does that make sense? You guys just let me know in the chat. I know some people are asking about that.
Real fast, Josh, is your laptop going to die and and your computer's going to crash?
I got a charger.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so Josh can go over. They said, can you share the cold email process for this too? You have that. It's already in the doc, right?
Yeah. I'll send you guys. And again, reason why I give you some of these templates too, like after the calls, I want you guys to understand, and then we give you the application at the end. A lot of you guys rush the application, miss things that doesn't work as well. And so there's a reason to increase the success rate of everyone here. And so some of you guys are like, oh, I want to start saying it right now. We're almost done with the call. You'll have it. You'll have the templates, and you guys can ask me questions over the DMs and in Discord. But yes, there will be the templates on there, and literally just copy and paste it, tweak it out with the information. You'll be good to go. I already shared the Figma file a couple times in the chat here, so you guys already have that flow, just so you have that understanding. And then after this, we'll get you those templates.
Divine asked a question, said, if you've said you have a winning idea, wouldn't the influencer expect a specific idea for their audience during the call? Yes, the winning formula is always the same. Convert their following into an email so that you can monetize the email list. If they're not converting followers into emails, that's the big hole in the boat, right? Like that's what I always use as an example. Like every business is a boat, and they're trying to stay afloat.
Yeah.
Some are super successful, some aren't. Most businesses have holes in them. So what's the hole in this influencer's business? They just make money purely from being a content creator. They don't actually have a repeatable business. The repeatable business is that they don't have to create content for the rest of their life if they build a big email database. If they're not currently building an email database, that's the first hole in their business. If they are, then I guarantee they're not doing a good job of it, because it's very evident if somebody's doing a good job because their primary business, call to action in every single video, everything they do drives people to their email. Because if a content provider knew that they made 10 times more money pushing people to email, do you think that they're going to do it? Of course. If all of a sudden I said, hey, Ian, I'm going to make you literally 10 times as much money in the next 90 days, all because we're actually going to have an email database and we are going to monetize it so much more effectively. And we're going to be able to hit them every single day with an offer without you coming off like a sellout on social media where your engagement drops because they're like, dude, all you did was turn your freaking podcast and YouTube channel into a pitch fest. I'm out. But if you push them, if your content is still just high level value, and then at the end you say, hey, if you guys would like some more high level value, because my podcast or YouTube channel is all about stock picking, go download my best 7 stocks for this year in the link below completely for free. Plus, you'll get $100 on your first free trade on Robinhood. Like, people do that all the time. Those are the ones that are really good. They're combining like a lead magnet with a sponsor. And so those are ways that you can do it creatively as well. You can still do a sponsored post with a lead magnet. And so rather than them saying, hey, if you want to get $100 off, go to the website below and use promo code whatever, you hide that behind an email opt-in. I'm going to say it again. You hide it behind an email opt-in. So if I was a content creator and I had a YouTube channel on stock picking, rather than just saying, hey, this episode's brought to you by Robinhood. If you want to get your first stock pick and $100, click the link below and use Ian Scott as the promo code to get your free $100 on your first stock pick. All they have to do is click the link, robinhood.com, and then type in promo code Ian Scott. All Ian did was get paid for that shout out, but he didn't build his email list. In order to make it even more effective, Ian can now tell them, in order to get the free $100 and your first 7 stock picks, it's in my PDF download. Now they have to give Ian his email. He's now getting the double benefit. He's building an email list because he snuck in his own 7 stock picks, and he's hiding his promo code inside the PDF that they're going to have to give their email to download. So now he doesn't have to turn off his revenue from the sponsored post. He just supplements it by pushing that on behind an opt-in wall.
Yeah.
You guys get that?
Yeah, that's good. And I know a lot of people, they're asking like with the process and the Figma flow, like, do you have to stick to that? No, you guys can make it custom. Like, some of you guys, you got deals are further ahead in the pipeline. Don't like force yourself into a rule of things if the deal is moving a lot faster in a good direction than the flow here. But for people starting from zero, we're documenting this so that anybody at any stage, at any level, can effectively take someone from cold to converted. But there's some people like, talking to Mark, I've known him for a while and years. And so it's not like I'm going to be, doing all this vetting beforehand. I've already kind of gathered the information. So the process was a lot faster. And so again, be open to the idea, knowing that deals will be dynamic, but then understand you have a process that you can follow if you want that step-by-step approach. So
just know, people are saying that this, it seems like the offer is either building a lead magnet to get people to opt in from their following into an email, or just improving their ability to take their existing, maybe they are converting email or subscribers and followers into emails. They already do that. And then your job is to come in and optimize and maximize it. Yes, that is basically it in a nutshell. And the most basic definition, there's still a lot more to it, but like, that's the basic understanding of what is the thing that you're doing. I'm taking your followers, converting them into emails to create you a real, consistent, repeatable stream of income that allows us to, in an effective way that consumers like. They don't like to be sold on social media, but they don't mind getting promotions every day on email. Can we all agree to that? Like Black Friday and Cyber Monday, God, I got a lot of emails for it, but there was a couple that I opened and I bought. And I was like, thank God I got 60% off on my favorite product. Thank you, Black Friday. But I didn't like all the other ones, but a couple that I got, I loved. I was like, yes, 60% off my favorite product. So just remember, people like to have those promotions in their email tab, not on content on social media. So content on social media drives people to build an email list for something free. I'm going to give you my newsletter every week. I'm going to share a brand new meme coin. I use crypto references all the time because I'm into crypto, but you guys get the point. Health and wellness. I'm going to reveal a new product every week, whatever. Come up with this is where you can lean on the community, the group, me, Josh, and say, hey, I got a client. What would the best lead magnet be? My thoughts were this. I could ask ChatGPT its thoughts. Knowing that this is the person, knowing that this is the audience, knowing that this is the demographic, knowing that this is what their content is. ChatGPT, help me come up with an effective lead magnet. As an example, 5 non-toxic products that these moms can buy for their children. Give me more examples like that. And then ChatGPT or Claude would come up with a million examples. If you said, this is the influencer, here's their social media channels, go funnel hack them real fast, social media hack them real fast, and then tell me based on their audience of this, their age group of this, the women of this, they like products like this, they already pitch products like this, what would a good lead magnet be? My example that I'm thinking of, Mrs. ChatGPT, is ta-da-da, 5 stocks to pick for this quarter that are going to pump bigger than NVIDIA. What would you tell me? And then it's, oh, well, based on all the feedback you gave me, here's some great headlines for lead magnets. Boom, 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 boom. And then it'll come up with a bunch for you. There you go. Now you can go and start training AI on how to find your influencer, thought leader, experts, lead magnets and titles. Then you go and you split test them. But this is such an easy game. And then as you build that email list, I'm telling you, every single business owner that I know crushes the majority of their revenue from email. Andy Frisella with First Form. They're one of the biggest fitness brands, and they do about $600 million a year. $600 million a year. Most of that comes from email. They're like one of the biggest fitness brands selling protein shakes, protein bars, pre-workout, you name it, clothing, and they do most of it over email. They have a bunch of social media people all pushing to the product as ambassadors, building an email list, and then ultimately getting sold over email. Most of the biggest brands in the world are from email. And then the email allows you to have consistent, predictable, repeatable revenue, and that allows you to build a real business. That's my definition of a real business. Consistent, predictable, repeatable, scalable revenue that runs without needing to hire more people, build more stuff, do more things. That's my favorite. And so if this person, think about like this, guys, I look at like this, I'm a gold miner or an oil miner, you know, like oil money, like the really rich people. All of these people that you're reaching out to are all different oil opportunities. You're going to dig and hopefully hit oil. You don't know if one of these influencers is going to become the honeypot that you can just sit there and just ching, ching, ching. You've seen the oil miners that just go up and down, mining oil, and that's money. Every time it does that, it's money. That's you. Every time you get an influencer who is committed to converting their following into an email list, you are slowly mining more money, more opportunity. The bigger the email list gets, the more money you're going to print. And then that printing happens over and over and over. The influencer does all the work, building the audience and converting them into emails. And then you or your agency comes in and writes emails, or ChatGPT writes emails, and then ties it into a product that you created, or a product that's an affiliate product. And then the influencer every day posts content that leads to a free lead magnet that builds an email list. And the more emails you have, the more people are getting emails for an affiliate product or your product that you co-created with this person. And then the flywheel just keeps going. Every month you have more emails. Every month you have more people opening and clicking. Every month you have more people buying. And you just keep doing this and doing this and doing this and doing this. And all of a sudden you have a bunch of different oil rigs going up and down, up and down. And you're like, I have that influencer deal from 6 months ago. It makes me $3,000 a month. I have that influencer deal over there that makes me 30 grand a month. I have that influencer deal over there that makes me 5 grand a month. And I have all these different oil rigs and honeypots just making me money. And that's what I want the vision for you guys to be here. Does this make sense? A consistent flywheel of somebody already has the group of 100,000 or 1 million followers. They're slowly building up your email list, and you or somebody you hired is managing that email list and converting it for maximum inbox, maximum opens, maximum clicks, and maximum purchases. And that's the business model in the most basic sense. Then you can layer things on top like affiliates and more intricate funnels and more more detailed things on the back end, which is the phase 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you can even get it crazy where you could be like, we're doing $100,000 a month every single month. Do we want to see if we can sell for $5 million to a private equity group? And they're like, what? And you're like, yes. And then you call me and I'll introduce you to the private equity group. And then I'll take a 5-10% broker fee, and you and your person will run off into the sunset with a big payday with long-term capital gains tax of 20% Fed and whatever your state is.
And then Mark's going to go to Bitcoin.
And then,
But yeah, and guys, one thing too, I know some of these questions are bleeding into like the phases. On the next call on Thursday, we'll be talking about, phase 1, phase 2. We'll be getting into that stuff. Really want to stay focused on just like the outreach and proposals, because you won't even get to the phases until you know how to get these contacts in place. So if some of your questions you're asking about the phases, I may just be like, hey, save that for phase 1, 2 call, and we talk about that. because we don't want to overwhelm you. It's for the sake of you understanding this and applying this well. But we're gonna give you that in detail. We'll give you the funnel templates. Like what do I don't know how to build funnels for a lead magnet? It's all good. We'll be giving you guys plenty of templates for that. How do you write the copy for it? We'll give you the AI. So we'll have all of that. It's coming in the right order at the right place. But I love just as just giving you guys an intro so you understand where we're headed to. That's great. But when we get into the details, we'll have it at the right stage in the right place. But yeah, let's I think if we want to head back to the doc here,
Yep, I'll pull it up.
under proposals, we'll dive back into that, and then we'll have a
Yeah.
little time for Q&A near the end of this as well. But we went over proposals, talked about that.
Yeah, so I think this is probably a good
Yeah.
in the documents. Yeah, so here we'll start here. So some more reviewing of the documents that you could be sending out, the proposals. We'll show examples before discussing the phone call. So like we said in the proposal, I might send them examples of other websites or lead magnets or launches I've done. And that's where you guys might be like, oh my God, I've never done that though. Well, first of all, you don't have to send them an example. It's just good if you do for obvious reasons. If there was a way that you could validate and verify the fact that you're saying you can make a claim to help them do something without any verification that you've done it before, obviously in any scenario ever where you can verify and validate that what you're saying you can do has already been done, that's a good decision. The problem is you're like, I've never done this before. That's back to the thing. I'm going to just grind this into your head so you guys just are like, oh, I literally know everything that Mark and Josh are teaching now. You go get the agency who's already done it and you get examples of funnels and websites that they've built and you use those. There you go. So that's how you can show examples prior.
I've also, one thing, sorry to cut you off here while you're flowing.
Yeah, you're good.
One thing I've done too is I'll show like other creators or celebrities who have launched like similar products to their audience and have done well. And I know I got this idea because I heard about some guy who was like was going after creators, and I think he like referenced like it was like Mr. Beast. So like Ryan Train is like, oh, they launched a candy brand. It's doing this much and it's crushing. So we'll tie that in. So like if I want to do a recurring program for a coach or an expert, I would be like, yo, Ryan Serhant, who's on Netflix, he just launched Sell It for like $24 a month. I just saw that doing like 750,000 a month organically. Right. Obviously we didn't do this, but knowing those numbers, I believe we could do something similar for you. And so I'll show them like examples of their competitors too. And if you don't have, your own, just show them what's been done. And then they'll be like, man, even if I did half what Ryan did, that's still amazing. Or even a fourth of that. So you can also leverage other examples of products in the market that you can kind of compare it to.
Yes, exactly. Love it. You don't have to have the examples yourself. You can just reference things that others are doing that are similar to them, right? Like this person's like you, they have a following like you, they have a brand like you, and this is what they're doing. And because I'm in the industry and I'm in the know, I've heard that they're doing, this many millions of dollars. And it would be very easy for somebody like you to capitalize on that as well. And I'm sure other people have maybe hit you up with this idea too, making it sound like they're smart and that they're in the know too. But I don't see that by looking at your website and your brand and your following and your bio that you're doing any of this. Therefore, I'm reaching out to give you a proposition that other people may have tried to pitch you on with a lot of cash allocation up front. We're willing to do this on a performance basis. Let me tell you more about that. And they're like, let's go. Tell me about it. It's going to not cost me anything up front. And then another thing you can always do too is to reflect our confidence that we have, our other option of working with you, like most agencies that maybe have hit you up, we charge a money up front with a percentage on the back. But to show you the confidence we have in our ability to pull this off with you, we're actually willing to do another alternative option, which is no money up front, and we'll do 50-50. So we're mutually in it together. I don't even like to plant the seed of we're both taking the same risk because I don't want there to be that perception. But if they bring it up, then I'll say we're both taking the risk, right? But I try to just frame everything in a positive sense. So Mike and I close most of our current creator celebrity deals without any of these crazy, sexy documents. Because think about it. We hadn't done any big celebrity launches yet. So when a lot of celebrities did say, have you done any celebrities though? Because I'm like, oh, we did this educator, we did this educator, we did this educator, expert, thought leader. And they're like, cool, but have you done an influencer? Have you done a celebrity? And we hadn't yet. So I'm letting you guys know I still was able to land about a dozen celebrities and influencers with overcoming all these objections. And then it gets easier and easier and easier because I'm like, yeah, we did this person. Yeah, we did this person. Yeah, we did this person. And then at some point, if they're just like being obnoxious about it, you just say next. Peace out. I don't need to sit here and be interrogated like it's the FBI. I'm here also vetting you. So if that's how this is going to go, I'm out. And I'll say it in a nicer manner than that and try to find a way to move forward and be like, look, I'm not here to be interrogated by you. I'm not here to be, I'm happy to answer all your questions, but it's starting to feel like an FBI interrogation and like you're vetting me for a job when I'm also bringing my team and eating the cost of this to partner with you. So if this is how the relationship's going to be, then I can happily say we can just save our time right now and end the meeting. No, 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 no. I'm so sorry. I won't ask any more questions. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. And then they come crawling back like a baby. And if they don't and they go, okay, if that's the way it's going to be, then I go, peace out. We clearly did not resonate with each other. I'm out of here. That is not the type of energy I want to have on every single meeting with you as we launch this thing later. And so again, just remember, you come from the position of power. This is your life. You're in charge. This is your new business model. You're in charge, not them. Go into every deal with that confidence and swag. You're going to get the right deals with the right people, and you're going to increase your odds of success a lot more. I did not take that advice early on, and I had to drink a lot of mud and get punched in the face a few times with the wrong people because I wanted to show off on social media that I got another big celebrity client, that I thought this might be worth climbing face down in the mud for 6 months of negotiating and fretting money to find out that it wasn't. So again, listen to my advice. So about projections, we don't typically use guarantees. It's too risky and they can come back and sue you, or high projections when we first start, which is why I like my formula of about 1% of your following will convert into emails. And then of that, we'll convert 3% into buyers. And that's on the short-term basis, not like long-term rinse and repeat. That's just like in the first 30 to 60 days, we like to see those numbers come to fruition. Those are very humble numbers and usually not like over the top exciting, like, oh my God. It's just like realistic. It's like, yo, you have 1 million followers. We get 10,000 emails. That's 1%. We sell 3% of the audience of the emails. That's 300 people. And sometimes I'll tell them, when we actually go officially live and promote the thing, you can post it on social like once or twice. I'll post it on an email like 15 times to the 10,000 people, but you got to at least post the thing. Hey guys, I just dropped the thing. Email, I'm going to be like, bam, 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 bam. Like I'm going to hit them every day with a different angle, hook, perspective, subject line, trying to get them to buy. That's the whole point of the email. But on social, they don't want to hit social 15 times. Buy, 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 buy. They might hit it 2 times. And who's gonna not do it twice? If they don't want to do it twice, then you're like, dude, come on. You're obviously not committed. So hit it twice on social to their full 1 million people. Hey guys, I just launched the new thing. A lot of you have been seeing my emails to get on the wait list or whatever, or to download the 7 tips to manifesting the best, whatever. Great. I'm publicly talking about it on social media. Go to the link in my bio and check out the thing. Right? Check out my new product, check out my new Zoom coaching, check out my new whatever. And now they're actually deliberately driving traffic to buy the product, to buy the thing when you do the launch, if you go that route. But again, there's different models. Phase 1, you could just be selling a product like their existing products. So there's no official launch because they already have the product. They've already done a launch. They already talk about the product, sell the product. It's not a sexy new thing. So it's just proving to them that you can convert subscribers and followers into email and then make money over here. Now I'm making money over here. You weren't doing that before. I'm selling the same thing, doing the same thing, but we're making money over here. Then they're like, oh, okay. I'm still able to get my sponsorship money because I'm hiding the sponsorship thing, possibly maybe the code inside the lead magnet as well. 2 birds with 1 stone. They don't want to feel like you're turning off one income stream to replace it with another until you've proven to them that that one is going to be bigger, larger, and consistent versus their existing one. Makes sense? Nobody wants to stop making $2,000 or $5,000 or $10,000 with the hopes, possible maybes that they're going to make 20. And so if you can try to keep both going at the same time and then eventually be like, yo, we're now making $5,000 from sponsors, $20,000 from our own stuff over email. Can we officially shut down the focus of ever mentioning sponsors again? So all the focus can go on our own stuff that makes 4 times more money and maybe can make 7 times more money. Yes. Okay, cool. So there's some more. Then filling in the documents, do research and plug in the following numbers. Like I just said, I'll say it again for the 10th time. 1% of the followers convert into emails in the first 30 to 60 days of driving traffic consistently. And then of those emails, 3% of those emails should buy within about a 7 to 30 day window of the launch, of the hitting them every single day. And again, key factor, hitting them every single day, at least once with an email. And then we can get into email logistics. What's the best time to send it? Is the audience international, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I like to send emails statistically just at like 10 a.m. in the morning, Pacific time. 10 a.m. in the morning is a good time. Also, sometimes 6 in the morning is good. So somewhere between 6 a.m. and 10 a.m. is what I've seen, because a lot of people are going to check their emails first thing in the morning. They're going to check it like before work. They're going to check it early at work when they first get to work. And then, 10 a.m. is actually, 1 p.m. Pacific. So they're checking it at lunch. So somewhere between 6 a.m. and 10 a.m. is usually a good time to just send an email like every single day. If I had like a newsletter, I'd always send out the email sometime between 6 a.m. and 10 a.m. Or if it was a true newsletter and everyone was expecting me to have like a TV show that's Thursday at 7 p.m., I would always send the email same day, same time, all the time. So then they can count on it. But you get my point. There's so many different ways that we can do a whole training on just email maximization.
Which we will. We'll cover that in the other phases.
Yeah. So figure out a good topic that motivates them and they're excited about it. Cause again, they have to be like, dude, that's so sick. I can't believe I didn't think about doing audio tapes on whatever, right? Like my buddy Jake Ducey, I have a whole YouTube channel on law of attraction. How stupid of me to not do like 5 affirmations that you can say every day to multiply your wealth. Oh, that's genius. 5 affirmations I can just say every day to myself out loud to manifest more wealth. Of course, my 1 million subscribers watching my YouTube channel are going to want some of that. And after doing it for 5 years, he built up 1 million email subscribers, which is literally where like the majority of his revenue comes from that. Otherwise, he'd just be a burned out YouTuber who makes $200,000, $300,000 a year, thinks they're doing well because they're like, I just make content. I don't have to go to a job. I just sit at home and make content and make 300 grand a year. Great. Congrats. You're doing amazingly well. You could be doing $3 million a year if you partnered with one of our students and they actually helped you build a real business with email. And so that's the model. Key takeaways: getting the deals is the slower, sometimes challenging part, and delivering and fulfillment are surprisingly easy and fun. I mean, you know how fast Josh and I could bang out a lead magnet and throw it together on a funnel and write 7 days of emails, or have ChatGPT do it for us because we're lazy and we want to outsource it to AI. Like, ta-da, like I could, if all day, me and Josh could probably do one a day. I'm not even kidding you. We could probably do one a day. If we just went out, found an influencer, they immediately said yes, we made a lead magnet, created a PDF, and put it in a CRM automation opt-in page, super simple opt-in page, headline, 3 bullet points, button to opt in, photo of the PDF, boom. Like we could bang out one a day.
I did one last night for just myself. I went into ClickFunnels. It was like an hour. I was watching Monday Night Football. It's like, bro, once you have the templates, like that's not the hard part. And that's why we're having you guys focus on, like we taught you guys in the first lesson, vetting good partners, understand what makes a good partner. And then we're talking about that even today, because that's like the make or break thing. Like the reason this works is by having a good creator with a good audience. And so that's why we're teaching it first and haven't gotten to all the marketing stuff, which I know is exciting and it's fun to talk about, but we're doing this in an order for a reason. And so, yeah, it's surprisingly easy when you come to the fulfillment. That's stuff you guys already know, understand, especially if you're coming from a marketing background or freelance.
Yep. So as we're still on here, we're finishing up and then we'll do some more Q&A. Handling your first or final call with the agent or creator themselves. 2 possible scenarios. The agent or creator is skeptical and needs to be convinced. I don't like to be in the convincing business. So that's what I tell people. Hey, look, I'm not in the convincing business. I'm not here to try to persuade you or influence you to move forward with something that you're a little bit skeptical about. I can appreciate and respect the fact that you're having questions or concerns about something you've never done before. And so I'm happy to address that. But I just want to be clear, like I'm not here to convince you that this is going to be a success. I don't know that it'll be a success. I'm confident in my ability to pull it off, but I've never worked with you and I don't know if your audience is going to resonate. I don't know what your conversion metrics are. I don't know a lot of things. So I too have questions and I'm skeptical, but from the surface, it looks like you have a great brand and a great audience and they love you and you've done an amazing job building that brand over the last few years. And I could see your first video was in 2017. So you've been at this for like 8 years. You've obviously done an amazing job. And like everything, certain people are really good at 1 or 2 areas and then they kind of like drop the rest. Celebrities are good at being the talent and then they hire lawyers and managers and agents and executives and assistants and whatever to help them do the rest. CTOs focus on tech, CFOs focus on finance, CMOs focus on marketing. So everyone focuses on their area. Yours is clearly podcasting, YouTubing, content creation, whatever. And like most people, you just never got into email marketing and building a online educational business. And this is where I can come in and I can help you. And so again, you kind of like lean in on a little pressure. Like I'm not here to convince you. And also I want to honor you and respect you with how amazing you've done and let you know that there's like this huge gap in your business. And I'm here to talk about how I can help support that area so that you can be a lot more impactful to your community that you built that loves you and serve them in a higher, deeper way, but also how you can actually profit tremendously more from this because you're giving up a lot of your revenue to these sponsors that are paying you what probably gives you a great living, but it's not making you wealthy. And it's also not helping your audience as much as you could. You can still take the sponsor money, but we're going to talk about this email marketing model that's going to be a lot more effective and then creating digital products around that. So again, You're not there to convince people. You're there to serve them, help them better understand the vision for what you're creating. So I do kind of like the Tony Robbins, like tough love, where I'm almost pushing you away, and then like very gentle love and admiration and cheerful and constructive and there to help you and be like, hey, look, we can play together. We can do this amazingly. Like I'm almost like, it's almost like you can't tell if I hate you or if like I'm about to be your best friend and business partner, right? It's kind of like this back and forth where like in the negotiation phase, at least, right? In the negotiation phase, I'm trying to play that like, I definitely don't need you or care about this deal, but at the same time, I feel like we can make some magic together and really impact a lot of people. And so you're kind of like, whoa, okay, I don't, you almost leave like, I don't know what, does the guy hate me because I said something that I'm skeptical, or does he love me and this is going to be the best partnership ever? And so you don't want to just be like a super obvious, like they're the boss, they're in charge. You know what I mean? Yes. Somebody says like dating, exactly. Like in dating, you want to, nobody wants it to feel like it was too easy, right? Like, oh, that person's too nice, or they're too easy, or they just give into everything. They're a yes man. They say yes to everything. Yes, dear. Yes, yes, yes. It's like eventually that's how you get a divorce, right? There's no challenge, there's no spice, there's no variety, and so you want to kind of have that like predictable but like unpredictable, that crazy side of you where I'm like, I don't really know what he's going to do. Is he going to go off the rails, or is he going to be like the best thing ever? And so you kind of want to have that little respect. Yeah, Amy says no one respects a pushover. Exactly. So if they're pushing you over and they're like, I'm skeptical, and you're like, wait, no, let me get on my knees and prove to you, like, you don't need to be skeptical. Like, please bow down. Like anything, whatever you need. Like, no, I just immediately like, dude, I don't need to prove anything to you. Like,
yeah. Especially if you have that approach too, like in this deal process where like for you guys who are like afraid of like, what if they screw me over? Oh no, like all these things which are valid thoughts and concerns. But like the people who get screwed over and stepped over are those ones that have like those doubts and those fears and don't have those boundaries where they are trying to do everything like, I'll do whatever, I'll serve you. Like they go so far and beyond what they're being asked or should be doing. And then the person's like, oh, this person's willing to give me this much. I'm going to keep using them to my advantage because they're making me more money. And so I see this happen to copywriters all the time, agency owners. I mean, a lot of you guys probably experience this yourself where clients overwork you. They start handing you tasks that, weren't even a part of the job scope, and you just keep taking them because you take them, they keep giving you more. And so that's why I like to have the approach where you have those strong boundaries where you're kind of coming in nonchalant. Like I can go find another creator and do this because they'll feel that. And then they're not going to try to take advantage of you or step over you or screw you over later on because you're still, keeping that frame of control in that process. So, yeah, try to keep that as best as you can. I know it may be hard starting out, but after you get one deal, two deals, and it goes well, it's going to get so much easier. Where legit, you're going to be on the call and you're thinking like, I don't need this person. They got to convince me because I can go out and find a couple of their partners that are bigger, better, whatever, and it just you'll just naturally come to you. But at the start, you kind of have to remind yourself in the process.
Exactly. Andrew asked a good question and said, sorry if you guys already mentioned this, but when you find someone on YouTube, for example, with 20 million followers, or just millions in general, what's the best way to find out the best person to reach out to? Sometimes they'll have a website. And if they have a website, then on there, they'll usually have a way to contact them over email. It'll say contact us or about us or whatever, and you'll be able to find a way to contact them if they have a website. If they don't, then you're probably going to want to go and find them. Very few YouTubers also, I should say it a different way. Most YouTubers also have an Instagram or a Facebook or a LinkedIn, and that's where I would hit them up in their DMs. Because yeah, YouTube makes it more difficult. What you can also do is you can start to comment on their posts and just give like constructive, hey, great video, Josh. Hey, love this video, Josh. I use this in this way in my life or my business. And here's like almost like a story testimony, like a use case testimony. So I'd be like, I bet if I started commenting on Josh's stuff, now granted, Josh doesn't have 20 million followers yet, but like he'd probably see me and he'd be like, oh, I weirdly recognize your name. And it's like, yeah, because I've been slowly seed planting like a methodical person. I've been slowly for months commenting on all your posts. So you see my name, you remember my name. And so you can do that and see if they reply back to you. And just so they start to see your name and remember your name and you're, slowly seed planting in there. So when they do eventually see you, they're like, weird. I really resonate with your name, Josh, Josh Gavin. And you're like, oh, that's because you're the crazy dude who's been commenting great things on all my posts. But yeah, you find their website, hit them up. A lot of the times, if you just search their name, stuff will come up on them as well. Now, since I'm in the data industry and I understand a lot of things about data and I have a data software company, I can personally just type your email into my software and I can find out your home address, your phone number, and a bunch of other things just from your email. So if I can find your email address, then it's game over, or your phone number. Sometimes I don't even need that either. I can just type your name into I have like an arbitrage model. So I can type your name into a a service that does background checks, like I do on my nanny. Type your name into a background check service. The background check service will then give me your email and your phone number, and then I'll take that information and plug it into my data software, and the data software will give me everything about you, like your net worth, your credit card, your car you drive, your home address, your cell phone number, your family members' names. So I won't get creepy, but like I have a way of finding anybody. I have a way of finding anybody.
Not too creepy, but
Not to, but data is creepy. The data industry is creepy. Just in the sense of like all of our data is out there. Like we're on video
yeah,
right
so
now,
you can
and like
find these
Zoom might
YouTubers'
be
email.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
finding their information is easy. They're not like a politician who's trying to somehow hide their location, and even then, you can find that it's pretty easy. Our data actually has to block a lot of politicians' home addresses and information by law. Certain states have it where you can't use our technology to find politicians' houses and information. So by law, I can get it, but I have to block it out so my customers and clients can't buy that data. So yeah, right there, it's like I can even find people trying to hide their data. I can find it, but I'm by law for certain states not able to sell it. And so yeah, trust me, everybody's discoverable. Everybody's able to
yeah.
be found.
And
They're not.
a lot of the tools we've given you guys, it enriches their emails for you. And so, yeah, these YouTubers, you'll be able to find their emails too.
Pete says, I have a client in mind, good checklist results. They already have a
Yeah,
membership in
this one I
school.
would skip that one, Mark. That kind of goes into
Okay,
phase two and stuff like that.
got you.
We could
Cool,
probably hit
cool.
on Q&A in a little bit, and I'll say if there's any questions that are good. Just for,
I see people say, "Oh no, they have my email." Don't worry, we're not running it through any of my stuff.
Mark's gonna
It
come to
doesn't
your house
matter.
and
All your
upsell
data's
you.
yeah, all your data's already out there, anyways.
Uh,
All right, I'm going back into here. I'm closing the chat again. So yeah,
Stop
so
distracting Mark, guys. Just kidding.
I know. No, it's good. That's good. I'm here for you
Sorry.
guys. Um, okay. So we talked about if they're skeptical, some tips because you've sent the document beforehand. The call usually goes smoothly, and that document is the proposal. I told you how much I think you're going to make, how I got to those conclusions of those numbers on the pro forma, which I just said: million followers, 1% going to email, 10,000, 3% of those buy. That's 300. So there's how we got the numbers, and then take the number times the product, which would equal the revenue. And so if we sell a $99 product, ta-da, we just did 300 times, we'll call it $100. That's 30 G's. Boom. That's how we got to the number 30 G's. Then if this many people take a downsell at this price, this many people get an upsell at this price, here's how we get to the numbers. Boom. We could do that in the first 30 days. They're going to be like, whoa, I only make 10 grand a month. You're saying we can make 70 grand a month. It costs no money up front. This all makes sense. Those are pretty low conservative numbers. Let's do it. Be prepared to talk through the proposal. So feel like you know it inside and out, confident how you came to those numbers, etc. And remember, none of this is definitive. I'm guessing. Like you're guessing, they're guessing. Nobody knows what it's going to be. So it's a guess. Let's go find out together what it's going to be. But I think these are pretty conservative numbers. Would you agree? Yes. Okay, great. Your engagement on Instagram's 3%. So to only get 1% to opt in is pretty low. Would you agree? Yes. So you use really logical ways to get them to agree. It's like your engagement is 3%. So to only get 1% to engage with the opt in is low by about a factor of 3x. And so it's like, yeah, okay, this seems pretty conservative. So typical questions and how to respond. Agent or creator. Nice to meet you. Tell me what we have going on here and what you're thinking. Getting right to it. You could say, great to meet you. I've been in the online space for a while and we're expanding to work with celebrities or influencers like you. We come on board at no cost to you and create a digital masterclass course or some type of a digital product offering that we can sell and generate significant revenue. We handle all costs, fulfillment, customer service, merchant processing, refunds, everything. So this is like basically a turnkey business partner in a box. All you need to do is show up for one day at a studio, and they don't have to. This could be on Zoom. All you have to do is show up for one day. It could be in person or virtual to discuss a chosen topic and post on social media a few times. That's it. And it's all going to be fully compliant. And we're giving you guys my friend Onyx Singal's compliance book after he got sued by the FTC. He got super into compliance, hired an FTC attorney, partnered with him, wrote a book, made a course, made a software, all on how to be compliant.
He published an FTC agent pretty much.
Exactly. Yeah. So he basically got sued by the FTC, then realized compliance is super important, partnered with the lawyer that helped him settle his case, and then came back to publish this FTC lawyer as his partner who helped him with his lawsuit to say, here's how to protect yourself from the FTC. He wrote a book, made a course, made a software, and now he's publishing an FTC lawyer on FTC. And so we're giving you guys a copy of his book. You already have access to it.
Yeah.
We have the digital version for you guys so that all of you internationally, I'm not shipping a book to Pakistan or wherever we have people in this program. Like people are all over the world. Probably cost me like $500 to ship a book there. So we've got the digital version, which is even better because that way you can read it on your phone, tablet, computer, anytime, anywhere. and you have it instantaneously right now, which is why digital always rocks. And so you guys have that book to learn how to be more compliant, because that's also another big way to stand out. Hey, a lot of agencies are going to come online. They're going to promise you these big money. They're going to charge you money up front, and they're also going to probably do it rough and wild and dirty and not be compliant. They're going to cut corners. And what we're going to do is we're going to not charge you any money up front. They're going to charge you money up front. They're going to make big, bold claims. We're going to make big, bold goals, but not claims and promises. We're going to try our best to hit them together, working as a team here, and we're going to make sure everything's compliant, and we're never going to cut corners for your brand. You see how you can immediately just kind of like say it's the us versus them? Us versus them. They're these types of people. We are these types of people. Those are the types of people who are going to say, you're going to make 7 figures. I'm the type of person who breaks down exact pro forma numbers and says, this is a good goal for us to hit. But I'm not guaranteeing that we're going to make 7 figures, right? They're going to cut corners. The fact that they're even claiming 7 figures is already non-compliant. You can't say that you're going to make 7 figures. That's not compliant. You can't make any claims at all. And so again, great ways to help yourself stand out, just leaning in on compliance. So some key takeaways: agents are helpful. Smaller creators are more accessible. So you guys are going to be able to reach out to people without needing an agent. Praise the Lord, because agents are great, but they also get in the way, and they take time to slow down the deal, and they take a cut of the deal. So working with agents is a good strategy for larger celebrities when you guys are ready for that. Smaller creators can be approached directly, often resulting in faster and simpler collaborations. How to be prepared: sending detailed documents, just like the proposal that we've gone over with you guys and you have access to before the call, makes the discussion smoother. So you both are on the same page, and they're not like, what are we talking about? Did you look at the one pager? If not, we can walk through it together. And then I usually walk through it with them anyway, sometimes, depending on if it's required to open the doc up. Flexibility in deals. Be open to different deal structures to secure high profile clients or smaller creators. Like I said, I'm going to say it again. Every single deal is unique and special. It gives you and the creator the opportunity to come up with something that's mutually beneficial and mutually agreed upon for both of you to feel like you're both winning, and that you're both taking an equal partnership in this agreement. The same risk, although somebody always has a little bit more. The same outcomes of success, although somebody always has a little bit more, whether it's real or perceived, right? Somebody always realizes or perceives that they are going to have a little more risk or a little more upside. And just remember, you're in the earlier stages. So if anybody should get a little bit more upside, it should be them. Come into it with that confidence and that mindset that, like, I'm confident to take less because I'm actually the one building multiple deals. That person's going to only have this one deal, this one brand, this one audience. This is what frees you up to have what I like to call like the queen on the chessboard. Is you get to move in any direction you want. You get to go into crypto, you get to go into real estate, you get to go into fitness, you get to go into health, you get to go into any industry, niche, sector, marketplace that you want anytime. That person's stuck. They built a brand around their thing. They're stuck in that industry. They're stuck with that audience until after months and years of being able to redirect their brand to a new thing, they're kind of stuck. And so you get the benefit and the confidence to know I can afford to take a little less on this deal. I can do 60-40. I get 40, you get 60, and then I give my agency partner 25 and I only get 15. But once this deal's up and running like an oil rig making me money, I'm going to then go to another deal and another deal and another deal. And I'm going to have multiple deals. Meanwhile, you're stuck in this deal. So I can afford to take a smaller deal and make you feel like, hey, I'll do the deal for 60-40. Okay, if that's the deal breaker, shake on it. 60-40, sign the contract, done. So be flexible. Building relationships. One successful deal can open doors to many more through networks of agents or creators and referrals and introductions. Just like I said before, and Josh is already experiencing this for himself. Once you get a couple successes of clients, they're going to refer you to more clients. That's going to refer you to more clients. And it kind of becomes this ripple effect or the snowball where you kind of almost self-perpetuate your own success, where you don't need to do cold outreach anymore. And that's going to happen for all of you. Clear communication. Be explicit about expectations and commitment levels to avoid misunderstandings. So that's why I try to say, hey, none of this is definitive. Like if I say to put in one day of time and we need you to put in a couple hours more, it's not going to be cool with you. I just want to make sure we're on the same page that, like, if I said it's only one day, but then I'm like, yo, I need you to do like an extra hour to pick up this, or we edited this. Is that cool? And they're like, nope, it needs to be exactly the one day that you said. I'm going to be like, okay, then this probably is not going to be a good relationship for us. Where I told Josh, I was like, yo, bro, if you need me for anything, like, the arrangement here, like you're supposed to do more of the work. I'm supposed to do more of the fulfillment. But if you need me for anything, let me know. And so, like, the relationship and the synergy and the vibe is like super smooth and mutual between Josh and I. So it's like frictionless. But if you have somebody right out the gate, they're like, yo, I'm only going to do the 2 live streams you said, Josh. He might be like, oh, this is a pain in the ass to work with Mark. But it's not like that at all. And so you want to try to find somebody who's like, dude, I got this, man. You need me to work an extra hour or two or jump on another video? No problem. I got it. You want that type of energy, just so you guys know. So that's where you want to have that clear communication that, like, hey, if I need you for like a little bit more than we thought, is that going to be cool with you? Like, if hey, I need 30 more minutes of your time, or I need you to do one more post, or I need you to do this, or, you know, is that good? And they're going to be like, yeah, I'm totally, we're in this together. You're like, great. That's the mentality that you want to find. Legal protection. Always use contracts, which we've given you guys. You have access to. You don't need them. Many of you won't need these for maybe a month or two, because a lot of the stuff that you're doing in the beginning shouldn't even require a contract. But you can always use contracts and involve legal professionals and get legal advice, hire a lawyer. Josh and I are not able to give any legal advice or accounting advice. So just as a reminder, we're not giving any legal, financial, or accounting advice. Always consult a professional on those things. However, we are trying to shortcut your learning curve by providing you with the templates, the proposals, and the resources that we already have, that we've already paid for from professionals, that you can use as a reference point. You don't need to use it verbatim. You probably shouldn't use it verbatim. You should go in there and you should edit it, or you should hand it to a lawyer and say, I got this from a program, and I know that this is not exactly what I need, but it's probably some of what I need. Is this good? Can you edit it for me based on the uniqueness of my specific deal? So just as a reminder for you guys. And that's it. So the momentum movers for you guys, the homework is create your proposal template, which you have access to the template, and you can go in there and you can start to edit it. Again, every one of those will be slightly edited for each deal, and then reach out to 30 creators. Yes, not 10, not 20, 30 creators this week. Today's Tuesday, December 3rd. So I want you guys to go out there and hit up 30 creators this week, which is super easy to do. That's like whatever, 10 creators on Wednesday, 10 creators on Thursday, 10 creators on Friday. Boom, there you go.
Yeah. And again, we guys will get the sheet or this doc afterwards, right after the call, with those outreach templates. So you'll know exactly where to start there. Even if you can start setting those before you've had your proposal done, because that first email is just to gauge their interest, see if they actually are interested in doing something, and then you can send the proposal. So you can just do this as you go, which I'm a big fan of. Like, I like to build as I go. I kind of go as far as I can see. When new problems come up, I solve them there. So I encourage you guys to do that if you like to move fast. And then reach out for support. Like, there's a reason we have the Discord. There's a reason why you can literally submit a ticket and chat to me about the deals and figure out what needs to be custom, what doesn't. And so just hit me up. I'll work with you on that. That's something that you guys have access to since you joined this live coaching experience. Is that's not going to go away. If we were ever to do this evergreen in the future, people would not have unlimited access to that, but you guys do. And so don't let that go to waste, because there are going to be people in the future who would be jealous of that. And so take advantage of it, and just know that I'm here to help you as you go after these momentum movers. And so I'll make sure to share this doc here. But let's do some Q&A. The one thing with Q&A though is let's keep it on the topic of outreach to creators, deal structures and proposals, and that's that. Just because we're gonna have some people watching the recordings, so we want to make sure that's applicable to them. We'll cover the phases, the marketing, the other stuff on the other calls. We'll have Q&A sections for that. So if you have questions for things related to outreach and deal structures and proposals, go ahead and drop them in the chat. And and someone said, "Dang, I was going to ask Mark about the bull run." No, and no Bitcoin and no crypto.
Hey, yo, I'm happy to talk about that.
No. Well, that's a separate. That's the upsell, Mark. That's the just kidding. So
I think the
keep it
bull.
to
I think the
that.
bull. I think the bull run's going to go heavy until sometime around August or
He's
September of
off.
next year.
There you go. There's
So
the answer.
I would start taking profits between, if you want to be super conservative, starting around March and April, and then I would probably expect to be fully out of the market with any of the liquidity you wanted to take out, around August, maybe September, and then the rest. No, after that, it's probably going to have a pullback. In which case, there you go. You're going to buy back in after that. But there you go.
All right, boom. That's all I get on
Um,
Bitcoin. All right, let's have some questions.
I saw a good one.
Yeah.
Amy says, do you find creators are willing to let us build email lists and funnels on our ClickFunnels accounts? I'd expect they want us to create it on their ClickFunnels account or platform. Good question. Most of them don't have ClickFunnels accounts. And if you tell them that it's $3,000 to create an account, you better A, send them your affiliate link so you get 40%. And B, yeah, I mean, I would tell them, hey, I'll do it on my account,
Yeah.
because I already have an account and you don't. If you want to create an account, it'll cost you whatever, $2,000, $3,000 to do it, or $297 a month, but I need the upgraded version or whatever. So it's like, I already have one. I do this all the time, right? Even if you don't, I do this all the like we do this. This is what our thing is. We have the software. I already have an account. And then in there, you can do all your master accounts. And then eventually, if you're going to truly make it a business, then you should open up a new entity with a new bank account, with a new credit card. That credit card puts it on that account. That's all in there. Because if you go to sell the company can't buy your ClickFunnels account that has 6 of your other clients on there. You're going to be like, but wait, no, you can't buy my ClickFunnels account with the business because it runs all the other accounts. And they're going to be like, well, then you better open another account and transfer the docs over immediately. And so just so you know, at some point that model breaks down where you have all the clients' accounts on your one account. And what if something happens to that one account? You're screwed. So what we do is we make every single entity a new bank account with a new structure, with a new credit card, and that structure buys it. But you guys don't have to do that because you guys aren't trying to get to the level that we're at yet. So for now, if you have a ClickFunnels account, put it on your account and convince them why that's the better option because they don't have to go spend thousands of dollars to open another account. If they do want to, it's not the end of the world. They have to give you access to it anyways. They're going to go buy a new account. You're going to send them your affiliate link. You're going to make a couple $100 on that transaction. And then now you basically just got paid before the agreement even started for them to buy ClickFunnels with your affiliate link. You already got paid. And now they have a ClickFunnels account where they have to give you username and password so you have access to it. And then you just want to make sure that that's where you would eventually lose the ability to rug pull them. If they logged into the account and kicked you out first and changed the password, you would then lose access to the ability to rug pull them in the ways that I talked about. So what I would do as a protocol is I might say, hey, protocol, every 7 days, I'm going to personally export the CSV file of all the emails in our Active Campaign or Ontraport account or in our CRM and upload them into a Google Drive or a Dropbox, which we can both have access to so that our account, in case our CRM or our ClickFunnels ever had any issues, we've been slowly every 7 days backing up all of our customers, all of our buyers' data, all of our emails. And that's how you could rug pull them. Again, I hate to say that because this is not something that you ever want to happen. It's just like, whatever. It's like, having the ability to protect yourself in the event that they try to screw you over and don't pay you. You basically could be like, I'm going to hold your database hostage until you do pay me the money that is clearly owed to me. And we have a paper trail and we have a recording of a Zoom call. And that's what I would do is I record all your Zoom calls that you have with the person when talking about the proposal so that if they agree to you on a Zoom call, although it's not as strong as a signed contract, verbal agreements of saying, I do agree 50-50. This sounds good. Having that video recording will hold up in court. It's not as good as a contract, but it is something that you could be like, dude, I literally have you on camera saying these things. And so just remember that people will usually say a lot of things on camera when they forget that could be used against them later in the future. And so always record all of your meetings, your proposals, your strategy sessions. Every time you're talking with the influencer, record those Zoom calls and make sure you save it in a Dropbox folder as a backup for you.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing I do too is like I position it as like a deal to them where it's like, so you don't have to set up the tech or pay for it. I'll just cover that cost. And if some of you guys have Go High Level, I know someone just mentioned that they just are going to put all their clients under like a sub account. So you can get a position as a deal, like you're saving X amount a year. Cause I think for $297 a month for 12 months, that's close over 2,000-ish dollars. And so you can frame it as being a good deal, talking all day, you don't have to set up the tech. And so a lot of people are just like, yeah, that sounds good. And then you can even just explain like it's a fair trade. And a lot of people get it. Like when I tell them, like, here's the thing, like I want to control marketing, you control product, that just protects us both. So there's no risk either way. And they respect that. They're like, yeah, I see that. That makes sense. And so don't be afraid to try to get and have ownership, like fight for that. But if it's a really good deal, like for example, if Mark here was like, nah, man, I really wanted to have it on my database. And that's like a non-negotiable. Since I love Mark, know it's going to be a huge launch, and I, like, okay, this be good for my case studies. I'd probably be like, okay, whatever. Like, if this is really going to make or break the deal, I'll take that risk. But luckily, that didn't happen. I was like, it's going to be under all my stuff, Mark, my bank account, my this, da da da. Like, I still fought for that, even though it's Mark, who were friends,
but
homies.
Again, right? It's like I don't want the headache that comes with those extra. Like now I have to manage the money, or now I have to manage this. Now I literally told Josh, I was like, bro, just as a heads up, like I don't want to do anything. Like sometimes I'll make $1 million, $2 million in a day from my crypto going up, and it's like very hard to motivate me nowadays, especially in a bull run. Okay. And so, all right. So point is, like I told Josh, I was like, bro, I don't want to do anything. You have to do everything. And so that's where I was like the easiest negotiation client ever. Cause I was like, I want you to do absolutely everything. Have the bank account, have it all. And so sometimes you'll find clients like me where I'm like, I want this to be as hands-off as possible. And so you will find people like that too, where it's like, you're going to do everything And all I have to do is say, go to the link in my bio. And then like you gave me the link. And then everything else happens after that is you. Like you built the link, you bought the URL, you hooked up the ClickFunnels account, you built the opt-in page, you wrote the copy, you did the design, you came up with the creative strategy, you A/B split tested the picture and the opt-in and the copy, you did the email CRM integration and hooked it up, you wrote the copy in the subject line and made sure the time and the date went out in the highest inbox rate and compliance copy. You. Yes. Let's go. All I have to do is what I always do, and then just tell people to go to the link in my bio. I can do that. And then like,
Yeah.
this is going to make money. You're going to manage all of it. And you're going to be super transparent with me and we can have an agreement. Da, da, da. Okay, let's go. And so trust me, it's really easy, guys. You're going to love this. It's all about finding the right person, which is why
Yeah.
I'd rather speed date with like 30 people just to find the right one than to have pressure built up and be like, every single one has to say yes to me or else it's going to take a personal shot at my in my ego. No, I don't care at all. I know that most people in this world are not people that I want to be friends with. I know that most people in this world probably don't have the same beliefs and values as me. That's fine. I'm a grown ass adult now. I can admit these things. And therefore, because I know those things, I don't care what any of those people think about me. You know what I mean? So, like, therefore, I'm just trying to speed date as many people as I can to find out, yes, you have the same values as me. Yes, you have the same beliefs as me. Yes, you have the same vibe and energy and frequency as me. Let's do a business deal together. Let's be partners together. And then it's almost like you're both trying to like, well, here, let me give you some more. Let me give you some more help. Let me give you some more love. Let's jump on another call, even though I need to, because we enjoy each other's company. And so that's the kind of vibe and energy. Just remember, you're speed dating these outreaches to find that person that you vibe and connect with, where it's just going to be like love at first sight in a publisher sense, right? And so just remember, that's what you guys are here to do. Is you're not here to make every single person you reach out to say yes to you. You probably don't want most of those people to partner with you. So your job is to get as many of them on a call, have a quick little 30-minute speed dating, find out if they're a good fit, find out if your energy vibe, because that's the biggest one. Some deals, your energy can be off and you can get super rich together and be like, we hate each other, but man, are we getting rich together? And that's fine. But it's better to find a relationship where you're like, even if this is not successful, I've just had a fun time with you. I'm going to say that part again. Even if this is not successful, I just had a fun time working with you.
Yeah, that's good.
So that's the mindset. Like, trust me, I'm happy with both. The one that you got and you're like, man, we hate each other, but we are getting rich. That's great too, because you're getting rich. And at some point, if you live below your means and invest that money, you'll be set forever. But on the flip side, you also want the ones where you're like, man, this could fail, and I just had a good time with you, dude. And so again, to end on that, but I'm gonna go back into the chat now. And if you guys have more questions, Josh, that you maybe picked out, let me know.
Yeah, some of them are ones I could just answer. I already answered for them in the below. So
I know I see a lot of the questions are already being answered in the chat. Yes. So I appreciate you guys for jumping in there.
Ones. But yeah, you guys have any other questions on?
I've got one here that was sent to me privately, so I won't say the name of the person, but I'll read what they shared. I have a verbal agreement with this tech dude. He programmed a high frequency trading system, and his first investor dropped $5 million, which he turned into $17 million in 10 months. I think I remember you brought this up on the last call. Separate to this, he has a small business on the side, which he can't focus for time. As part of a research project in 2007, he created a system which has data of all trades of NASDAQ from 2007 to the day before yesterday to the nanomillisecond precision and continuing. This is about 30 terabytes of data, perfect for AI models and for academia, for research and teaching purposes. He sold access to his data to 20 universities around the world, including Harvard. A hedge fund offered him $200,000 a year for accessing this data, but he refused as he's busy with high frequency trading stuff. As partner, I see low-hanging fruits, another 200 universities at 50K pop, yearly access to this data, resulting in $10 million a year. What do you think of this deal? Absolutely. I would, maybe try to get a larger percentage of the cash and a smaller percentage of the equity. And that's kind of where I always like to negotiate, is like, you can't have the best of both worlds in most situations, where you're not the big honcho in charge. It's your thing. If you're in charge, I mean, it's up to you're in charge. But if you're not in charge, like this sounds like you're just like the guy in the deal, then I would try to figure out what's more important to you. Do you want cash now to live a good lifestyle, to pay off debts, to have money to live and do the things you want now, and then live below your means and take that money and invest it and build true wealth? Or are you like maybe where I'm at in life, where I'm like, I don't need any money. For me, it's more about like having fun, doing things I love. I love teaching. I love training you guys. I love helping people. And then I like equity because for me, it's about exits now. So like I know the value of building equity in venture capital, private equity, angel investments, Bitcoin, stocks. I know the value of building equity in a company and then selling the company. And so for me, I like cash because I like cash flow coming in. So I don't have to tap into maybe liquidity and net worth and assets. But I only need so much liquidity to cover my lifestyle. And then the rest goes into investments and I live well below my means. So for me, it's about equity as long as I have the cash flow. If my cash flow gets low because I sold a company or one of my things sold, or it's not doing as well, then I need to replace liquidity so I can cover my living expenses. Great. So you just got to figure that out for yourself. And I'm telling you this to all of you guys so you understand as well. You can always negotiate differently if you say, I want more equity, so I'll take less cash. And a lot of the times, if you go into a company, like I could probably go work for a Fortune 100 company and be like, I'll take all stock, baby. You know what I mean? And they'd be like, we'll give you $5 million a year then. And like, if I said, but I want salary, I want cash money, I want no stock, just cash, they'd probably be like, all right, we'll give you 300 grand a year. And I'd be like, what? 300 grand a year versus 5 million? Because the 5 million is paper. It's just stock. And then they'd put it over some vesting period where I wouldn't even get it for 5 years. And so I can make $5 million a year in stock, but I don't get it for 5 years. So now I'm stuck there for 5 years. But at the end, I'll have $25 million in paper stock, which will probably have, depending on how I get it, as a warrant or an option. I'll have to pay tax on it at the time of liquidity when I call the option and take the liquidity. So you get the point. For this deal, do you want cash or do you want stock? And just remember, those are always two different levers for you to play. Most people are always busy thinking cash, 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 cash. Cash is most expensive. People will always give you more equity than they will cash because cash is usually the lifeblood of a business. It's oxygen. It's paying you with today. Equity is paying you with tomorrow. And most people are always happy to give you a larger chunk of something in the future that doesn't exist yet or that doesn't have perceived value or that you don't get for a while. Like I'll give you $5 million a year in stock, but you don't get it for 5 years. So technically that paper that doesn't even exist doesn't even matter. And so you guys get the point here. Always think about equity versus cash. If you're negotiating on cash, you're always going to get less. If you're negotiating on equity, you'll usually get more. Because if you came to me and we're like, equity is basically saying I'm going to work to build something, and only if I build it do I get to cash in on the equity. Cash is like I'm making out money right now, and that's it. I'm done. And that's why, like when I paid that person $275,000 for the day cash, they were such a shitbag that like they didn't do anything. They were like, I already got paid. And that's the problem with cash is like when somebody already got paid, then the equity no longer matters. And that's why a lot of people in business who are really wealthy already have cash and their toys and their house and their boats and their planes. So they care about equity because they're like, I don't need cash. I want equity. And equity tells me that you're serious. So just remember, you can always play with equity and cash. The problem with equity though, is it doesn't always pan out. It doesn't always convert. It doesn't always have a liquidity event. And so sometimes you get stuck holding a bag of equity that's worth very little to nothing for what you thought it could be.
Would you say, Mark, then when you just to clear up like equity cash, like would you make the decision then based on like, do you need cash flow now?
Exactly.
Versus,
that's
like,
what I was
can
saying.
you hold out? Okay.
That's what I was saying. So I'm at a point in my life now where I'm blessed and I've worked really hard and I've made some big risky / perceived risky investments that have panned out very well for me. And now I'm at a point where I have a very large net worth. My liquidity is smaller because I've been selling my liquidity. I've been selling my businesses, right? It's like, so I'm selling off those things and then I'm not working as much. And I'm focused on my net worth and my investing. And so for me, cash flow is not as important as equity because I'm like, well, I might as well keep building my net worth. Because like some of you keep thinking like, what's your annual pay? And see, that's the mindset shift. For my entire life, I was always thinking, how do I make more money this year? How do I go from making 100 grand a month to 200 grand a month to 500 grand a month to $1 million a month? But you're never thinking necessarily like, how do I grow my net worth? Does everyone agree with that? Like you probably don't think, how do you grow your net worth? You're probably thinking, how do I make more money this month? How do I make 20 grand this month? How do I make 50 grand this month? Right? Like, let's just be honest. Like you're probably not thinking every day like a methodical psychopath. How do I grow my net worth? Like I am. You're thinking, how do I grow my cash flow? And so you're thinking about how can I do work today to make more money tomorrow? Where I'm thinking, how can I invest my money in something that over the years will grow in such a tremendous value that I didn't have to do anything but make a really good decision today. And then 5 or 10 years, it'll be so much bigger, which is making my money work for me so that I don't have to work. And that's the difference is you're working for money and versus making your money or equity work for you. And so again, this is a whole nother training I can do for you guys, but what is the cash flow that you want to live to cover your living expenses for the lifestyle that you want? And then everything above that gets invested, not saved. That means you don't know how money works. You invest it. Money's job is to go down in purchasing power. Money's
Would you say?
designed to go down in purchasing power. It's gone down 99.8% since it was created. That's the US dollar, the number one strongest currency in the whole world. It's gone down 99% in since it was created in purchasing power, which is why my grandma used to be able to buy a grocery store full of food for the week for like 40 cents, 30 cents, 10 cents. And now it's $500. Same dollars, by the way, exact same dollars. You ever find a penny that says it's from 1807? Like that's the same fucking penny from 1807. So it's the same money. It's just gone down in purchasing power. So with that being said, live below your means, invest all the money above that. So if you need cash flow to live your lifestyle, then do it.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing from this to apply to even like the publishing model, like how I see this is like obviously get those publishing deals and get the cash flow in to cover those below your means. Like that's kind of what I did. Is like I was like, okay, enough to cover the day to day. Then
Yeah.
my goal is like emergency, like savings or investing. Obviously, I know you're like, don't save money. Learn that. You taught me well. But I was like, let me just have like 6 months. And then when I had 6 months, I was like, oh, let me take more riskier publishing deals, or maybe it's equity or longer term. And I step my way into that. That's kind of what
Yeah.
I'm hearing as a way you can kind of like move to the equity
Right.
is,
And
you know,
you can also play with people on each deal because each deal is unique and special in its own way. You can say, hey, let's do 50-50 on Rev, but you can keep 80% of the equity of what we create. So in the event that there's ownership here and there's maybe the possibility of selling the company, um, you can keep 80% of the exit. And then so we'll do 50-50 on the profit share, but then you get 80% of the company and I get 20%. And so like all the assets and everything we're creating together in this big database and this cash flow that you don't currently have, you get 80% of it in the event that it sells. So like this is when we start to have real conversations, right? Because like now that I've sold my company, I'm about to sell my other company. It's like this is where the money's made. You know what I'm saying? Like this is what it's all about. Like I'm about to sell one of my other companies for $15 million. And I just created it like a year ago, and it's already like I was just telling Josh about this. I was like, I already have somebody telling me they want to buy it for $15 million, and I created it a year ago. And so this is where you guys are like, equity actually matters. And I had one of my buddies from my previous company that we sold, and I gave him a little cut, and that little cut for him was life changing. And he was like retired for a little bit. He's been buying crypto and Bitcoin, and so he's up a lot because he listened to me and invested the money and had the courage to. He was a little late. He got in a little later than I did because he was a little scared when he got the money. He held it like most people, put it in a money market fund, got 5%, and thought he was cool. And meanwhile, I got like 600%. He got 5% because I got in many months before him. He didn't listen. I was like, we're in the bull market. This is the time to get in. He didn't listen. He then got in late. Point is, he's still up hundreds of thousands of dollars, which for him is a lot. And I told him, I said, get in this next business with me because I'm going to build it and sell it super fast. I've got the model dialed in now. Like build the cash flow, build the revenue, make it sustainable, make it operate by itself without anybody needing to be there, make it not attached to my face, and then sell it. And he's been retired for like 8 months, just making money on crypto. And like it's been 8 months, and I'm already getting offered $15 million for this company. And I was like, bro, you missed it. I was like, he's like, can I still get equity? And I was like, no, bro, you haven't even been here. You missed the boat, bro. He's like, I didn't think you were going to get a $15 million company sold in the first year. And I was like, well, if the wire goes through, I'm not going to stick around for another 2 or 3 years. Like, I'm not the guy who's going to see like, well, what if it gets to 100 million in 2 years? Great. Let the buyer do that. Trust me, guys. Somebody offers you a bunch of money, you take it, or you call me and Josh, and we'll talk about it with you guys. So, like this, I'm saying equity matters. A lot of you guys, if you've never sold
yeah.
something, you've never had equity matter. Talk to any rich person; they're all going to say equity matters because they either sold a big company and they got rich, or they invested in something with equity and got rich, or they invested in a stock which is equity and got rich. So, like, trust me. At the end of the day, any super wealthy person, if they own real estate, that's called equity. You own equity in real estate. Like I'm invested in real estate syndicate deals. How much equity do I have in the deal? It's equity. So real estate's equity, stocks are equity, investors are equity, hedge funds are equity, private equity is equity, venture capital is equity. It's all equity. Ask the richest guys and gals, equity. So we live in this world where the government and the big people at power don't have us ever think about equity. Have us think about cash. Have us think about a 9 to 5 job, a 1040 income form, regular money. And then that money that you work super hard for can get inflated away from you, printed by the government. We have to work hard for our money. The government can just print it out of thin air. When you get in that world, you realize money's pointless. I should just try to make it and get equity and invest in things that go up. But again, I'll go on in a whole nother
Yeah,
Bitcoin
we'll say
training here.
that.
So
Question from Divine was how do you turn down influencers that want that? So how do you turn on influencers that want to do a deal, but you think they're not a great partner? So you reach out to somebody after you like they're interested, but then you realize, they're not that good of an influencer. I don't want to work with them anymore. How do you turn it down?
Depending on how far I am in the deal, I'll either ask them to step up their promotion ability by a large factor that makes them want to back out of the deal. So it's a mutually agreed upon deal. Okay, well, if you're not going to do all that extra stuff, then this isn't going to work. And then it's like, okay, well, I'm not going to do it. Okay, well, then let's just terminate now. Let's before we get too into the weeds. So it's almost like rather than me being like, yo, out of nowhere, Josh, I'm done. I'm going to be like, hey, Josh, I need you to go bring in $500,000 next month, or else I'm not going to be able to continue working with you. So then if Josh does it, I'm like, yo, my boy, he came through with it. If he doesn't, and he's like, dude, that's just like unrealistic. Although Josh wouldn't say that, he would be like, yo, let's make it happen. But you get my point is I would rather than just blowing the bridge down, like before you get divorced, you should probably have a sit down and be like, hey, this is what I'd like out of this relationship. I'm going to make these changes. Vomit on me now with all the things you'd like me to change too. Cause it's never one way. It's always two way. So tell me what you want me to make changes. And if we can't agree, we can try therapy, but like, I want these changes made and you tell me what you want me to do. And so it just becomes like before you just burn the bridges and burn the boats and have no communication and act like a toddler, you should try to be like, hey, as this relationship's been unfolding, I've had some concerns. These are some of them. And bring it up like an adult and have a straight up conversation and be like, I don't like the way that you're doing this, or I don't feel comfortable about this, or I'm not very confident about this. So these are me addressing some of my concerns. If you have some with me, let me know now. And so you're already beginning to like, I think we're going to break up. So let me just address some of these concerns. And if you tell me, hey, wait, I can be better, I can improve, then I'm going to say, great. I want to see these benchmarks and these revenue goals or these promotions hit. I want to see you post 5 times just this week. Like, if you're not willing to do that, then we should probably part ways. So I would try to be a cheerful, constructive adult and try to have a real conversation and be open to hearing feedback myself and not to be like, whoa, 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 I thought I was the only one who could tell you how to improve. No, you better be prepared to have the feedback come your way too, and be open to receiving it and be open to making your own progress, because we all could improve. And just like they might have been blind to how they were turning you off or whatever verbiage we want to use, you might be blind to how you might be impacting them or turning them off in a certain way. And so be open to receiving it. If you're going to open that can of worms, it's coming back your way too. So be prepared and be prepared to make improvements. And if you can't, that's the beginning of, great, I don't feel comfortable with what you want me to change. And I didn't know. So thanks for bringing that up. I've now addressed what I want you to change. And so it doesn't seem like it's going to work. We're going to part ways. Or, wow, I'm so great that we just had this discussion. Let's both make these improvements, check in the next 2 weeks or a month, and let's see if we're feeling better about this moving forward. And if it is, great. If not, hey, you got to admit, we're having a pretty good conversation here that's non-confrontational, and we're both talking to each other professionally about how we could improve. You see what I'm saying? And then they're going to leave with this cheerful, like, hey, that was a really good person to deal with. Amy was really nice. It's almost like a bad breakup versus a good breakup, if there is such a thing. But you get my point. It's like, hey, that at least went down. Like, you didn't get emotional. You didn't get frustrated. You didn't make a bunch of rude claims or whatever. So that's my thought. And again, you try to get better and better and better and better at finding those things out sooner, which is why I said one of your biggest benchmarks for vetting a person to work with is your ability to vibe with them. Yeah. Do you get along with them? Do you enjoy talking with each other? Do you have fun? Do you have similar values? Like, if I got on a call with somebody, like, who do I want to publish? Probably somebody who's into Bitcoin, because immediately we're going to have so much to geek out about, or somebody who's into selling online education and marketing, because I'm super into that as well. I'm super into education. I'm super into marketing, and I'm super into Bitcoin, and have taken my money from education and marketing and put it into Bitcoin. And so, like, I can talk about that feedback wealth generation loop. And so it's like, any of that stuff, I'm going to vibe with you on. And so that's why I vibe with you guys, even though we haven't actually fully communicated every one of us yet. It's like, you want to learn about this stuff, you guys are here. I'm going to give you 100% of me, because this is what it's all about. I live this. Josh lives this. And so we're going to pour into you guys. So try to find those people who have that instant vibe, that instant connection. Doesn't mean you're like, we're best friends and I want to go get coffee with you every morning. It just means like, yo, when we do link up, it's fun. Yeah, it's fun. And we're having a good time talking about what we're talking. Doesn't mean we need to be best friends. I need to text you on your birthday and Christmas. Although if we become long-term partners, maybe, sure. But you get my point. In the beginning, do you vibe? Do you get along? Do you have similar values? Do you have similar it's all going to make a difference. You don't have to be like exactly the same. Like, oh, if they're not married with kids, they're not going to get me because I'm married with kids, which I agree. Like, I can't be as close with some of my friends because they're not married with kids. They just don't get the stage of life I'm in. They're still selfish and single, which is fine, right? But if you're not married with kids, like, your life is totally different when you're married with kids. And so if somebody else is married with kids, instantly we may not be the same, except for in that one area. But damn, that's sure enough a lot for us to talk about, because I could be like, how's your dynamic with your wife? How's your dynamic with your children? And it's like so much to unpack right there. So again, finding those commonalities that you instantly can be like, yes, we're both this religion, we're both this, whatever. Those things make a difference. And so that's the biggest factor. And then all the other things, their following count, their engagement rate, the likelihood of it becoming successful financially, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But all of that stuff doesn't matter if you and the person don't have some connection, some spark, something about you that you go, yes, I want to work with you.
Yeah, that's good. I remember like I would look forward to my calls with like my favorite people I was publishing. Like when we had our weekly call, it was exciting. We would just talk about random stuff. And it's funny, one of the deals I did with somebody, they eventually had their first kid, so they closed down their education business. So we parted ways. And even though we parted ways, like they were sending me pictures like in the hospital room, like when they had the baby and we're chatting, checking in, like we always had like such a good time talking. And those were like the best deals. And so I remember like partnering with people where we didn't get along, and I hated like having to get on a call with them, which meant I hated when I had to write copy for them, and it was just annoying. So that's why it's good to like on those calls, that initial call when you're going with the proposal, take some of that time to talk to them and just have that conversation, see if you get along with them, and if there's any inkling of like man, like there's just something you're just not getting along, and there's not a huge like confidence in how much money's being made. Maybe be a little hesitant. Don't be trigger happy. But yeah, like Mark said, maybe there's like those big deals where you're like, man, this is gonna be a big launch. I'll get my case study and get out. Just start weighing your the cost and like potential loss and just play that out. But it definitely helps to get along. We had someone ask Mark, Fitz says, when you split with the agency, are you splitting profit share or equity?
And again, therein lies the uniqueness and specialness of every single deal. Most agencies are probably too inexperienced and uneducated to even know to ask for equity, in the sense of every deal they've done probably their whole life has never had equity. Like if you ask Josh, I know because we've talked about it, he's never been like, hey, when I publish this offer, can I get equity too? It's always been like, pay me cash up front, maybe also a percentage of the back end. And so it's like equity is usually never a part of the conversation. But again, as you get more serious and as you build real businesses and you build real enterprise value, you build real equity and real recurring revenue, you'll realize there is an opportunity at some point where you could get bought out. And that's when all of a sudden you'll be like, oh my gosh, I never asked for equity. And you'll never make that mistake again. But here's the problem. You may not for a very long time or ever get the position again where you built this company to 200-300 grand a month. It got the opportunity to be bought for $6 million and you didn't have any equity. Duh, you're out. You just blew it. When are you going to get that deal back? Right? Because it has to be perfect timing. It has to be another business with recurring revenue that somebody actually wants to buy. That's not an easy formula to do. Now, if you're in the space, it's easier, but like if you've never done it before, then it's harder. That's the point. So a lot of the times what I'll do is I'll try to negotiate again with said influencer expert or agency, the different in the equity. I'll try to give the celebrity, influencer, talent, expert, creator, I'll try to give that person 50% of the profit and 50% of the equity in the event we get there. In the event we get to creating a new entity, because they're not going to give it to you of their existing entity. They might not even have an entity. They might just be collecting money as a regular person from sponsors as a 1099, or they might not have an entity or an LLC created. They might not even be there yet. A lot of people, unfortunately, still are just a regular person posting content, getting paid 1099 income from sponsors. They're not actually creating an LLC and having a new bank account and running their cash flow through there and getting deductions. Some of them. The bigger up the ladder you go, those people usually are having an entity and they're not going to give you equity in that entity. So assuming that your initial deal is just 50-50 profit share on all the revenue brought in from the business, later, if and when you get to the point where you create a new entity, that's when the conversation around equity comes into place. Because nor you or your team of agency partners is going to get equity in their existing business. It's almost never going to happen because God knows what they do it for. I have people that tell me, oh, there's no way you can get equity in my business because I run my book through there. I run my sponsors through there. I run my other business through there. I even do some acting and modeling on the side and I run that through there. And they just run like 7 different income streams all through one entity that theoretically should have maybe 1 or 2 or 3 entities, but they just run all of it through that same entity. Because why would they create another one? Why would they create another bank account? Why would they go through the hassle of having to file 2 tax returns or 3 tax returns? And so I get it. That's just not professional. That's just not the way you would actually do things. If you're really truly running an actual business, you'd have a new entity for each individual thing. Like I told Josh, I have an entity just for passive cash flow. So like when I do broker deals, management deals, affiliate deals, I have an entity just for that income. 1 second.
Bro's buying more Bitcoin. Just kidding.
No, no, no.
This
We've just
hedge
gone.
manager.
We've just gone for a little over 3 hours, and I now actually have stuff happening in my calendar. I got to jump on a call here after 3 hours with you guys, though. So somebody said, "Are we going to talk over how to build publishing deals to scale without us and potentially being able to sell, like you talked about?" Yes, we've been alluding to a lot of that in this and the conversation around when you finally do get to the point where you're like, hey, we've been doing 50-50 profit share on making this money from your email list. But now if you want us to like scale up and you want me to bring in more agency partners to come in and do these things, we should make a new entity. And like, you can have your content business over here. And then like your content business can get sponsorship money and go into that bank account. But then like all the existing revenue that we make from the email list, from our efforts together as a team, that goes into this bank account, this company. So technically your brand is part of this brand, but this becomes a separate sellable brand. So in the event that we go to sell the cash flow that's coming from this business, the private equity group would be buying this business, this cash flow, these courses, and this email database, which makes the revenue. You would then keep your company, your social media following unattached, unencumbered from the exit of this company on here, which has its cash flow come in from paid traffic, affiliate traffic, organic traffic, which is the database that you've been building up from here. So that's why you can separate the two so that you can still keep your following, keep your social media, and keep all of that separate. In the event of an exit, they would just be buying everything we've created: the database, the courses, the revenue, the recurring revenue, the affiliates, the paid media, everything running through this company here. And that's where we'll have equity. You'll keep 100% equity and 100% ownership of everything you're doing up here and still own that even in the event of a liquidity exit. And then everything down here will be separated. You'll own 50%. Me and my agency partners will own 50%, and then we'll divvy it up amongst us. Maybe one of my partners will get 15, to get 10. None of that matters to you though. That's how it would work. And we can get greater into that stuff as well.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I think those are all the questions related to this, Mark.
Cool.
So I know you got to run, but I think this is a good time to end it here. But guys, can we just thank Mark again in the chat here for taking time to be here, sharing this value? Bro's going further. I mean, you guys, you should hear the conversations we have before we start these calls. Like my mind and like what I'm learning about this industry and this game is so far beyond anything I've ever heard anywhere else. And I've been in all the programs, I've coached in the programs, I've talked to the people, I've published them. And so you guys are truly getting something special here. And we're not just saying that. Like we will never do a live experience like this again at this price with this much support for this many people. And so we just hope you guys are loving it. If you need anything, let us know. Like when you guys ask, like, hey, can we get this? Can we get that? My answer is always like, yeah, let me figure it out. Let me put it together. So we're going to try to make this as easy as possible for you guys to take action. And then all we ask in return is go do this. Like we want to have so many case studies, so many testimonials. I want to have a 100% success rate. I want to have a 100% completion rate. I know obviously that's not going to happen in a perfect world. It would. There'll be some people that slip through the cracks, but please, like, let's get as close as possible to that. The goal is everyone here gets their first partner in the first 30 days, and we're well on our way. The stats, we're looking good with how many people are sharing their wins, but let's keep it going. Let's really blow this up. Let's take advantage of this, and let's fill this fill that channel with tons of wins this week.
You guys rock. We're going to see you on Thursday. We finally have our first week where we're back to back. So I'll see you guys in a couple days. Take action in the meantime. And we're going to just keep cranking away. We have a lot more to cover here. So we're slowly getting deeper into the business model, and we're going to have more time to answer your questions and get some epic case studies from you guys as you continue to rock and roll. And then rock in the Discord channel. I'm trying to jump in there. Josh always nudges me to jump in there and see you guys and scroll through. And he always is posting and sharing the epic stuff that